And hello, everybody. Welcome. That's right. It's Tuesday, and you know what that means. It's time for another off-the-wall edition. I mean, let me tell you what. We're going to break down the walls, if you will, of To The Turnbuckle on this October 3rd, 2023. As summer has a last gasp. It's a little warm outside.
It is a little warm.
Summer has a last little gasp here. And we're ready for that. I'm looking forward to fall myself. I'm looking forward to a little. I'm a hoodie guy.
You and me both.
I'm a hoodie guy, and I love a good hoodie. Now I don't like necessarily having to wear some jeans so often, but I'm a hoodie guy, and so we thank you for tuning in. Today's episode is titled for no particular reason at all.
None whatsoever.
Today's episode is titled Rated R Era, and that doesn't mean that we're going to get more profane on this show than we already do, and granted, it's a fair amount already.
That's fair.
But Rated R Era. So, everybody, tune in. Let's talk about it. Let's talk. Ryan Hill, how are you, brother? Come on in here.
Hey, Ryan.
I'll tell you, we should have invited him out for this big show.
Yeah, we really should have.
And I don't mean Paul White. Because
since you brought him up, that little cameo of Captain Insano was
he's
fantastic.
back. He's back. Captain Insano is in the house. Do we see a Captain Insano wrestling match?
Probably.
Why not? Why not? So let's talk about it. Let's get right to it. Episode title: Rated R Era on this October 3rd, 2023. Here comes one of those sentences I didn't think I'd say. I love when we have that, depending on what the sentence is. Adam Copeland, better known as Edge to a lot of us, has debuted in AEW. And
oh my God. The whole world stopped.
Yeah, the whole world stopped. And we want to know your thoughts, Buckle Brigade. I want every thought and opinion you have. All right, let's break it down. Let's get into it. We're going to get into the weeds on this one. Do we agree, Mr. McCarthy?
I say that's probably a fair statement.
We are going to get into the weeds. We're going to talk about it. We are going to chit-chat in a big way. Adam Copeland,
but,
AEW.
I think before we really dive deep into the Adam Copeland to AEW, not to take away your thunder, but I also would like to remind everyone.
Don't worry about it.
Oh no, that's fair. To go ahead, follow, like, subscribe. Not only to Bruiser Nation Productions, a division of Snapmare Productions. It's Bruiser Nation Podcast Network. My bad. A division of Snapmare Productions. I don't know what the hell.
Travis Napper, thank you for tuning in.
But not only those shows, but the latest members of the Bruiser Nation Podcast Network, Loss of Down. Yeah. Stephen Weed, Wally Lukaczynski, and Dave. So welcome them. Follow them on Spotify at Loss of Down. Follow them on their socials that you can see right there on the ticker for you right there. I'm going to bust out these other ones here
on the TikTok
here in a second.
On the TikTok.
So, welcome them. If you're into football, which most of us probably are, they're a good listen.
They are a wonderful listen.
They're gamblers, so if you're into gambling, it's not like a gambling-based show, but they bring up those things and what bets they're going to make. So if you're not sure what to do, Loss of Down is a good resource for fantasy and gambling, and it's a good resource for just the knowledge of football altogether. They're all really good, really knowledgeable, a lot like us when it comes to wrestling. It's fantastic. We all fit in. No wonder they said yes.
Yeah, look, if you want a podcast network to break it down to you like D-Generation X, the Bruiser Nation Podcast Network will get it done. And we're going to, and by the way, these are podcasts by the fans for the fans.
Damn right they are.
And so that's what it's all about. All right, Ryan, let's talk about it. All right, Travis, let's talk about it. All right, everybody, let's talk about it.
Talk about the biggest news of the month.
Adam Copeland, AEW bound. He's there. He's whatever you want to call him, that's who he is. He's in AEW. Ryan, you said Adam sold out. Is that a facetious comment? If it is, let us know.
What?
That's a facetious comment. If it is, let us know. If you feel it is, please go ahead and let us know.
I'm upset. I'm going to yell at people today.
Let's see if it's facetious first. Come on now, let's give it a chance. Let's just
The only way I can get Ryan Hill back on this show is to yell at him, so he can give a live rebuttal to my ridiculousness.
Sure.
But all right, we'll see. I'll play your game, and we'll see.
Let's give it a little time. Let's give it a little
time. I do say that a lot, so it's fine.
All right. So Ryan, we want to know: Are you serious? Are you serious? Do you feel he sold out? All right. What do you say to the folks that say? Let's jump right into it. I don't want to say the angle is secondary. Like, it was great to see Christian and Edge in the same ring again. Obviously, the moment with Sting, and that's cool. But the angle is kind of secondary right now. Would you agree?
Yeah.
To the inner workings of the business.
It's very secondary to this point.
So, all right. So since it is, let's jump right into it. I want to know, what do you think? Are you excited? Are you what do you say to those that say, not a bunch of loyalty on Adam Copeland's part? Let's address that. I don't know if Ryan's serious or not.
That's fair. I mean, I'm looking at other things and I'm confused. What's this? It's because he hasn't fixed the graphic yet. I'm not the graphic guy. I don't even know what they're referring to.
I don't know yet.
But technically, in Snapmare Productions, because this is a division of Snapmare Productions.
It's a division.
So I'm not the graphics guy. I do graphics, but that's not my job title. So things need fixed.
Who's the graphics guy?
It's Travis.
Is it?
It's Travis.
Because I'm the social media. I share her out, which I do fairly well on Facebook. Everywhere else I need to work on it. And when I say I need to work on it, I also need some passwords. But Facebook is building us a nice little audience. So I'm doing all right there.
That's cool.
I'm doing okay. All right. Ryan says to the crowd he doesn't think he and his body can make it another year with the part-time WWE schedule. Then he jumps ship to AEW on the full-time. Then he jumps ship to AEW on a full-time schedule. I'm confused. That comment's from Ryan Hill. Don't know if you've seen that yet on your feed.
I see it.
But all right, so breathe. I need you to breathe. Don't.
It's fine. I'm not going to yell at Ryan.
Let's not alienate the people. All right, Ryan Hill's a beautiful
people
man.
Enjoy my rants. Probably.
I know, but sometimes you and I, because we are men of passion.
That's
all
good.
Right, we are men of passion, which means our women are satisfied. But
also true.
That sometimes means we
of course I have
go a little too far.
Yeah, we just won't go.
Yeah,
any further.
Yeah, that's I was jumping along. I was jumping along, brother.
I mean, I guess I'm currently taking applications.
Okay.
How about that?
All right.
Is that better?
Hey, I told you rated R meant nothing other than the title. Easy, pal.
I said it with decorum.
And so, but we're men of passion, so therefore we can get a little too fired up sometimes and get a little too far in our passion.
That's fair.
And sometimes people can mistake that, including myself, because you and I have had some tiffs.
That's fair.
And because I'm what's known as a sensitive bitch.
Well, I'll just try to remind the people that I'm at heart I'm an entertainer, and this is yes we have toned down our characters, but we're still kind of.
Although Gannity's a real thing.
I'm still kind of. I've been living with this character. It was just me, so I don't know. Turn it up to 11. Sorry, guys.
All right. So what do you say to
Ryan?
Ryan?
Ryan's asking for it now.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, Ryan. All right. So we're referring to a promo that he cut after an instant classic with fucking Sheamus, and that's possibly how he felt at the time. Also, if that's not how he felt, wouldn't you want to say that to your hometown crowd? Wouldn't you want to have a little mystery about what the fuck you're about to be doing? Because you want it to be a surprise that you're going to a new company? Maybe not even sure if he's going to a new company yet because he was still under contract. The only person that could talk to him about this was Christian until Sunday. Unless there's some grace period in Edge's contract that gives him the opportunity a week or two out to seek other avenues of employment. I don't understand the tribalism, the oh my God, how could he go to AEW and leave WWE behind? Are you fucking kidding me? This man has been on our television screens, my television screens, since I started watching professional wrestling. That's why I'm tied to the Chris Jericho and the Edge. Let that man do whatever the fuck he wants. I don't understand. You are talking to a person that his entire fandom began at the exact same time that Edge got big. My first show my dad ever took me to, the night after the very first tag team ladder match for the services of, what's her name? Dustin's ex-wife. Runnels. Yeah, Terry Runnels. Terry Runnels. I'm so sorry I forgot your name, Terry Runnels. Not that you're listening to us, but I feel I should still apologize.
We'd love you to come on the podcast.
We would very much so, because that would be teenage me's dream. Tell you that shit right now.
Woo!
So, and that's why, like, I don't understand the tribalism ever, but that's what really bothers me right now. My wrestling fandom is so intrinsically tied to Edge and Chris.
That's a big word.
I've watched Chris go and do other things, never bitched once. I missed him. I missed seeing him on my TV, but it's what he wanted to do. He wanted to be in that android sci-fi movie. All right. I was mad because he died in 5 minutes. He's an android. How'd a human kill him in 5 minutes? Are we kidding right now? Like, that's what I was upset at. Not that he's fucking off doing other things. Sure as hell wasn't mad when he started in AEW. I don't see why people are mad. Why can he not do what he thinks is best for him and his family? Is it, oh my God, what if he does change things in AEW? Oh, because no one's trying to put anybody out of business right now. Nobody fucking cares. The wrestlers come out here and say, what is wrong with you? No one cares. We work for the companies and we don't care. We want our friends to be fucking happy. Why can't you just be happy for them and let him go out the way he wants to? It doesn't matter. I don't understand. We talked about this before the show. I don't hate Tom Brady. Never have. The way some AEW fans hate WWE and the way some WWE fans hate AEW. And I am a Dolphins fan longer than I've been a fan of pro wrestling by quite a few years. And I never hated Tom Brady like this. I recognized his greatness. It sucked. It's a huge pill to swallow when you get your ass beat twice a year, every year, and you have to just fucking say, he's that good. I can't hate him. So I just don't. It's stupid. And it goes back to how I yelled at Travis this morning. It goes back to what Edge said. Are you a fucking fan of wrestling or are you a fucking fan of acronyms? I don't care, but don't pretend you're a fan of professional wrestling if you are tied to an acronym. You can like one more than the other. That's fine. You can like one and hate the other. That's fine. But whenever there's something to be said, it's always negative towards AEW and WWE just... Because do we all forget how many times big people from the indies and other companies have been squashed and done nothing with in the WWE years and years ago? Am I the only person that's old enough to remember that shit? We're sitting here and talking about loyalty to a company that will fire you in a second. They just released 24 fucking people. And you want Edge, who wants to do more for the industry, to stay loyal to a company like that. And you're mad he doesn't want to be? Like, what does that say about you? Are you a WWE fan or are you a wrestling fan? There is a distinct difference between liking pro wrestling and just liking what WWE has to offer because that's all you had when you were growing up. That's fine. But then shut the fuck up about AEW. We don't need your 2 cents. There's enough negativity in the world of wrestling fandom to the point of we don't need negativity about the companies and the things we watch from our fucking friends. Fuck out of here. And everybody else on fucking the internet too. Get out of here. Let Adam Copeland be fucking happy. Be glad that there is a viable alternative for wrestlers to have a platform. WWE is a system. AEW is a platform. Can AEW be a system someday? Sure, if that's what they want. But without that platform, Cody Rhodes isn't back in WWE. Without that platform, Jade Cargill is not in WWE. That says nothing bad or negative about AEW. They're two different companies. They are run completely differently. It's amazing that Cody got what he wanted in WWE. It's amazing that Jade Cargill got a contract with WWE because AEW can't provide her with what she needs. I said this on the podcast last week and 2 weeks before. And yeah, that's fine. I can be a sassy bitch. I don't care. I'm tired of the bullshit.
If I'm the sensitive, you're the sassy.
Yeah, that's fine.
New T-shirts.
Don't be fucking sensitive. I'm with sensitive. I'm with sassy. I like it.
Yeah. New T-shirts.
But I just don't. I don't understand.
All right. There's a lot to unpack there, and for the most part, I actually agree with you. And I understand that that's going to sound hypocritical on my part because hey, no one complains more about loyalty than me. But at the end of the day, loyalty is also a two-way street. I think the people that go, well, why would he leave? People have to understand that as professional athletes, and I'm certainly not one. The only thing I'm professional at is crushing pizza rolls. But as a professional athlete, sometimes I think WWE especially, and this happens in traditional sports all the time, sometimes a team or a company will tell you they think you're at the end of the line when you don't feel like you're at the end of the line. And I have always...
Travis said it.
Yeah,
I'm just the big bitch.
um,
I love you guys.
Ryan says appreciate love for the
all that too. I mean, I can't deny his goddamn greatness, even though I hated him a lot.
Here's the thing. I think companies, like I was saying, I think companies and teams sometimes decide this is your role, whether you're ready for it or not. And I think that's absolutely hard sometimes.
Who's Damon Strike?
That Sexton Hardcastle.
Oh, I mean, you're not wrong,
but
he's a legend now. He can do whatever the fuck he wants.
But I get it. And
here's another one for you. Chris Jericho wouldn't be the name he is without the WWE, and he's never denied that.
And I've heard people talk about Tony Khan wouldn't be the same where he is without his father, and that's true. But where would Vince be without his father?
Yeah.
And where would Triple H be without Vince?
Where would Vince be without Trump?
And so
Trump helped fund the first WrestleMania, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody depends on somebody somewhere.
Yeah, because frankly, this world, and we know this greatly, trying to break in this media game, it is not about. At a certain point, it's no longer about your skill set. It's about who do you know.
About who you know.
It's at a certain point, it's no longer about your skill set. And so, look, here's the thing.
Well, trust me, because we'd be making a lot more money off this podcast if it was about skill alone, because there's some bad ones out there.
Yeah.
Bad ones.
Chris Swope, thanks for watching, brother. Hope you're well. Praying for you. Look.
That's right. He was, now I remember Naaman Striker in WCW.
Yeah. And look, here's the thing.
Old brain, but I remembered.
Hey, glad it came to you. And look, here's the thing. People look at Edge and they go, well, why? Well, number one, again, you don't know and I'm not saying I'm privy to those conversations either. I'm not. All right. Again, this is a podcast by fans for fans. That's what we are. But we don't know what the conversations were. If he feels like he's still capable of competing on a regular basis, and WWE only wants to shove him on Mania and Saudi shows, that's not quite the same thing. And frankly, let's be honest, in this Triple H era of where he oversees the day-to-day business of creative, where he oversees the day-to-day business of creative, Triple H's creative, as far as him running the day-to-day goes, is not friendly to part-timers. It's not. It's not friendly to part-timers. He doesn't see a great value in them. It's clear of that.
Yeah.
Because, and say what you want about their value at this stage, but there's a reason Goldberg's not under contract. There's a reason that we've seen Undertaker like once in the last 3 years. The only part-timer he seems to value is John Cena. And that's maybe because he's right around the same age, and I don't know. And I know John Cena's in much better shape and all those sort of things. But, it's just the...
Am I Mr. Sensitive?
I think I'm Mr. Sensitive.
Are you Mr. Sensitive?
I feel like I'm Mr. Sensitive.
I don't know. I'm trying to... We're turning a new leaf here on To The Turnbuckle. We're trying to pay attention to the chats.
Yeah. We're trying very hard. Deshaun, thanks for watching. Let your comments be known, please. Everybody, tune in. What do you think of Edge going to AEW? Let us know. Whatever it is, we'll get to it, and we'll break it down. We might argue with you, but please, we appreciate your opinion, whether we agree with it or not.
To defend Mr. Sensitive, because I'm not sure. Tony Khan's not a Southern money mark.
He's just a money mark.
And he's not, that's fair. He's not necessarily attempting to compete with Vince. That was never the goal. It was always to create an alternative. We're all aware of this. There's just no competing with the WWE. Like, do you want to try to get better ratings and sell bigger venues? Like, I mean, you don't do All In London if you're not trying to make a statement.
Sure.
But there's a difference between trying to make statements with the amount of people you have at your shows and watching your shows, as opposed to, I'm going to put this dude out of business.
Yeah.
That's why, and I said this last 2 weeks ago with Travis, that's what bothers me the most about the tribalism. The beginning of my fandom was the war between WCW and NWO. I kind of got the tribalism then, but I didn't because I watched both. But I understood it more because Bischoff did come out on TV and said he's going to try to put Vince out of business. So I can understand in that aspect, because he's trying to put him out of business and take this away from us. That I can understand. Even though, like I said, I watched them both.
Well, but let's look at it from Edge's standpoint. I don't know, again, not privy to these conversations, but let's say it looks like Edge is going to be a full-time guy in AEW. Excited about that. Let's say... And arguably, he was referring to you. He was referring to you.
Oh, okay.
Sassy.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm sensitive.
Cool.
He's sassy.
Okay.
It's a new thing.
We're working on it.
Yeah, we're like Feldman and Louise over here.
Well, at least I answered. Casey was referring to me.
So here's my thing. Number one, because people go, why? Well, all right, a couple of things. Number one, I'm going to assume that Edge is being given an astronomical amount of money that would be hard to turn down no matter how much money you've made. Number one. Number two, if WWE decides you're pretty much a part-timer and you're just going to slide in 6-7 times a year, if that, and you're not, you need to be at peace. The one thing I will always disagree with about Ric Flair's retirement angle in WWE, and this isn't to go on a tangent, but I will go to my grave believing if Ric Flair wasn't ready to retire at that point, either release him or don't do the angle. Because he wasn't ready, and if these guys have earned anything, hasn't it, whether it's right or wrong, we can debate that all day long. I'm not here for that on this particular day. But if they haven't earned when it's time to call it, then what the hell have they earned? Why have they done this for their entire lives? Whether you want to see them wrestle at 49, 69, whatever, if they haven't earned the right to say it's time, then what have they earned? Because it's not a business with insurance.
Hell no.
It's not a business in retirement, so can't they at least decide when they think it's over? Even if that's the wrong call. Like, I don't... Joe Hirschberger, thank you for watching. Hope you're well,
Hi,
brother.
Joe.
I just don't understand why... Plus, if you were given an astronomical amount of money and probably told you'll either be our number one or number two guy in the company, granted for a challenger brand, versus a part-time that's going to work Saudi shows, WrestleMania, and other big-time events here and there, you'd have a hard time turning that down. And sometimes I think a guy like Edge and others can, as much as they're loyal to WWE and they love WWE, and he still says he loves WWE, but like at a certain point, I think you're intrigued by the idea of let's try something new. Let's be the leader of this challenger brand and see if we can't start a revolution.
He made that very clear in his media scrum. It's not like, so like Travis brought up, like he was in prominent spots and he got title shots. Yes, he did. He said it. WWE treated him very well. he's a guy that's driven by challenges. There was nothing left.
Yeah.
He didn't see much left for him to do, and them as well.
So
it's not a big deal.
Are you going to slide in once a year?
What's the point? But I mean, so I did listen to the media scrum a couple of times. Do you have any more opinions before I play some clips?
Yeah, let's get to this comment real quick by Ryan. He said the tribal chief is part-timer and he's the biggest star in the company. Dodie loves part-timers. I raise you that, and I say he's a part-time entity in showing up. He's not a part-time character. He's constantly mentioned.
If he wasn't part-time, he wouldn't be the tribal chief.
I
think it's a major point of the character that he's part-time.
But part-time in showing up, he's not a part-time character. What I mean by that is that he's constantly referenced even when he's not there. It's that he's watching on the island of relevancy or whatever. When a true part-timer is part-time, you don't get constant John Cena references or Goldberg references or Taker references unless they're about to pop back in.
Yep.
Where with Roman, every week he is somewhat mentioned on SmackDown. Yes, he's part-time in schedule and working, but it's not a part-time character. The Undertaker is a part-time character. Goldberg, is or was a part-time character. Edge was about to become a part-time character. That miscellaneous roster that we've heard reported. So I think if you want to call Roman a part-timer, and he is in schedule, but from a character standpoint, if he is that, he's the exception to the rule. Look, I understand that I might have jumped the gun early on, but as I tend to do, I've kind of called it about Triple H's version of creative with part-timers. I kind of rang that bell.
He used them very sparingly.
Yeah, I kind of rang that bell, whether I was right or wrong. It was probably out of paranoia at the time, but unfortunately, for my entertainment's sake, now everyone else can disagree with me, and that's fine. You're entitled to be wrong. But at the time, out of paranoia, I was kind of ringing that alarm, and it turned out to be kind of the truth. So, but before we go any further,
we can get. I think we can give Hunter some more time. Like, as far as that aspect, because he respects all the legends. It's not that he doesn't want to use them, but he knows, even more so than us watching the product, there was a long time of depending on legends.
Yeah.
And legends only.
Yeah, sure.
Triple H, and Vince too, because he's been part of this whole rebuild too. So I'm not just saying it's been all Hunter. They're realizing what they have right now. It's like, let's not dilute the guys that we've built into something by let's not rely on the legends so much.
Sure.
I think maybe another 2 or 3 years, Triple H is booking more legends, especially as the Randys retire and go more part-time, if he can even go. I don't know how he is, but the older guys that he helped bring up, there's going to be a point where, and I think that's why Vince used the legends he did. Most of them, he made stars. Most of them, he was super close to. That same thing's going to happen with Triple H. And then he'll be using those legends seemingly almost like Vince did. I'm hoping that the new stars can stay stars, and the whole thing doesn't come crashing down like it always does when it comes to stars and people leaving. And whether you're talking about football, baseball, wrestling, I mean, a lot of stars drop off at the same time, and it's like, oh shit, what are you gonna do? So I'm not just saying and I'm not saying, oh my God, they'd be out of business. I'm just saying there's always a lull in talent when that happens. So and that's why the legends were used so much, because there was a lull in, I'm going to buy this pay-per-view for this guy talent. There really was.
A couple more comments before we play those. Ryan Hill says Brock Lesnar part-timer. Yes, he's a part-timer, but also he hasn't gone over in a feud since Omos. And before then, I can't tell you when last time went over. And sometimes
I think that's they're latching on to he doesn't use them like Vince, but they're forgetting that you said like Vince.
Yeah.
He doesn't use them like Vince. They're not a crutch like Vince had to use them for.
At a certain point, even if whether it's right or wrong, this business, this life, mind you, is filled with egos. And at some point you're going to go, yeah, I can hang in there for another, 2 to 3 years, work 3 or 4 matches a year and put over everybody, or I can go do something new and exciting, get some dubs, and I know it's all the work anyway, but still, from a personal standpoint, you're like, that's exciting to be. For Edge, that's one more run at the top of a company, even if it's the challenger brand, that he has not had even in this last run. Because other than the feud with Roman and Daniel Bryan at 35, when was he treated as a main event guy?
It's been a minute.
It hadn't happened.
It's been a minute.
And that's not, I'm not knocking anybody. That's just the truth. When you get probably what is an astronomical amount of money to come be the main event guy, thanks, Steve, for watching. Appreciate it. Just tune in when you can. Ryan,
Oh, yeah, thanks, buddy. Bye, buddy.
and
Actually, and Ryan, not until Wardlow's back on TV, Goldberg cannot.
Yeah.
Because he needs to do a one-off of Wardlow to pass the torch, and they need to keep Wardlow on fucking TV.
I don't know if there's such thing as one-offs in AEW. So far, not much.
I
Other
mean,
than like Sabu and Great Muta.
Well, see? There's an example. Goldberg can do a one-off. And it doesn't have to just be a one-off, but, I mean, like, at least come in, if he's going to, if this were to ever happen, hypothetically, I would use him to put Wardlow to the moon, and that's it.
But back to
and then, after 3 to 6 months, we're going to retire you like you want. Do this. Put Wardlow over. Do this for him and for us.
And then we'll do something.
And then we're going to do something for you
Scratch
at this
that back
giant, all right, so,
at the London All-In.
Yeah, you go out on top in London, but I need you to put Wardlow over and get your ass beat like Brock Lesnar beat your ass.
Yeah.
At Revolution or whatever.
Right.
And then you can beat anybody. We don't care.
Yeah.
Because that is what Wardlow needs right now. Because then you can't take him off TV. I say that.
I would hope.
But, I think we've said that about. And see, this is why I don't understand, because there are things about AEW that I bitch about, mainly Lance Archer, Wardlow, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Miro. But
well, I think you get a little sensitive about AEW sometimes.
I do sometimes, but it's because you get a flood of negativity. It pisses you off.
Ryan wants to know how long on a full-time schedule will Adam go. Have you heard that? Have you heard what his contract is? Is it a multi-year?
I didn't
is it
hear.
1 year? Is it a...
I didn't hear how many years,
but
but
because the one exception to this Adam thing, Adam Copeland, is the one thing about this that's been odd is usually, and I'm not criticizing, but usually when they get a huge signing like a Sting or a CM Punk or a Chris Jericho, within that next day or two, Tony Khan sends out a press release that says a multi-year deal and things like that, and so I'm curious of that.
I haven't
in
looked.
terms of the length of the deal. Ryan says because Napper replied to Ryan's comment on the full-time schedule, said guarantee not as much as we think. And then Ryan goes, how long can he go?
And that's what I'm talking about right there, because people forget there is not a specific AEW style. AEW is a buffet of professional wrestling styles. Yes, Sting jumps off of balconies and goes through tables and does hardcore stuff. At 62, no one is asking Sting to do that. Actually, there's been multiple times.
He's like 65.
Sorry. Yeah. Well, I tried to help.
But let's give him every year to his credit.
But even when people are like, look, that's probably not a good idea, Sting goes, well, you know what? I never got to do it before, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Edge doesn't have that problem. Edge has done everything. He has been everywhere. He has bought the t-shirt 37 times when it comes to crazy ass bumps. He doesn't wrestle that way, and he's not going to, and he's not going to be asked to. I think that was another problem with Mr. Punk. He had something to prove. He said it. I want to see if I can go with these young guys. And at that age, your body doesn't always let you do that. And maybe that pissed him off, but that's a different conversation for a different show.
Sure.
But, I think he's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. He's not Darby Allin.
Yeah, I also think that, yes, there's an injury history there. And you know what? If he gets hurt in his first match with AEW, that doesn't mean they did anything wrong. It's that crap happens sometimes. And plus, let's look at the fact of, Bryan Danielson's got neck issues. So far, his neck has remained fine in AEW.
Christian Cage has neck issues.
Sting has neck issues. And so far, everything has been good to go.
Omega's got all kinds. He's fine.
And so
Jericho done the craziest shit he's ever done in AEW.
But I think if you can get 2 to 3 years of full-time Adam Copeland, and then maybe a few more matches in a part-time role, kind of like what Danielson appears he's going to do, assuming things stay at the course they're doing. I think that's a win. You needed a new. If you're AEW, there's nothing bad about this deal, unless, and I'm not speaking this into existence, but unless there's a catastrophic Sting Night of Champions like injury, you can't lose.
Nope.
You cannot lose because you needed a shot of momentum and something to kind of break the CM Punk haze.
Gee, what a shocker! A pro wrestling event and a match, and someone got hurt. But wait, you said it was WWE, right? I didn't think that happened in that company. I thought they were all uber professional and uber perfect. Oh, wait, but that happened before AEW was in existence. So, yes, let's just blame AEW on injuries in pro wrestling because that's the narrative that you fucking want.
To me, I would if I'm realistic, if I'm Tony,
he's gonna always be Edge to me until he yells at me, Ryan.
Well, yeah, I think it's good. It took me a little time to get Bryan Danielson down.
God damn it! I still don't have that down.
Napper
Didn't you hear? He's been on my screen my whole wrestling life. He was my first wrestling figure. Even though he's in a different company, he's always Edge to me.
Ryan Hill says Travis Napper. He's replying to Travis. Hopefully he can go. I love Adam. I just want him to end his career in a way that will make him happy. Good attitude to have. Travis Napper says it's not even about wrestling style though, Jason. Shit happens in his body. Even at this rate, he is wrestling is now breaking down some. I mean,
and
yeah, that's true.
Jericho's older than him. It's fine.
But at the same time, if they can get 2 to 3 years out of Adam as either the one or two guy in the company, I think that's worth it. You needed something to break the kind of CM Punk dark cloud, and he does that. Also, one question I want to ask you and everybody else listening. We appreciate all your comments. Travis says I guess they get 2 years out of it. We'll see what happens.
So I guess,
but I want to ask this question because I've heard people debate it. How big in terms of is he the biggest free agent signing they have? Is he top? Is he the second? Is he the third? How big is he in that? And I'll give you some time to think on it because I already have my answer. So think on that for a second. In terms of buzz, I would put him at number 2 behind CM Punk just because of the 7 years.
I would agree with that.
In terms of long-term, in terms of legitimizing the brand again after the post-CM Punk debacle, he's the biggest they've gotten. Mm-hmm. And because of the fact of he legitimizes, assuming this goes well, he's going to get other people to jump ship just like Cody is getting reportedly to WWE.
Which is fantastic.
Because Edge is one of the old schoolers.
This is going to be great.
Edge came up in the quote unquote kind of worst locker room area you can come up in. The old school kind of men being men.
Yeah.
And so he is, if he can have a successful run, he can talk to other veterans of his ilk and go, here's why you should take this company seriously. Here's why you can respect what they're doing and the legitimate. He's a big deal. I mean, he is somebody, and people are going to.
Look, I mean, you're both right. He is below CM Punk, but that's because CM Punk was gone for 7 years.
Yeah, in terms of buzz, he's right below Punk in terms of buzz. But in terms of long-term legitimizing the company, assuming it's a good run, he's going to be, and this is not a cut on Chris Jericho, he took the first step. But now it's not tainted, but it's Edge is going to be the name that puts the equity back in the name because of the CM Punk thing.
Because Jericho's been there since day one. Technically, he wasn't really a free agent, if you will. He was like, I'm not going to wrestle for Vince. I mean, he was still – and see, this is another thing. If people are mad because Edge was like, I can't handle the schedule, but maybe he can. He's just trying to soften the blow or whatever. Like, you get mad at him. I mean, Chris said publicly, I won't wrestle for another company in America that's not run by Vince. Situations change.
Everything changes.
Attitudes change. Options change.
It is. I think
see, like, Chris is bigger. Like, Chris is a bigger star.
Yeah, probably.
More people know who Chris Jericho is. That's a fair statement.
That's true.
That's a very fair statement.
But I think he could talk to, and I know this is going to be laughable to some of you, but he can talk to somebody like The Undertaker and get The Undertaker to look at that product.
Yep.
Because they're close. They obviously are all-time rivals in kayfabe. Because, if Kevin Nash is telling the truth, and, well, I wouldn't believe him if his tongue was notarized.
Think he is.
But
because the Undertaker talked about MJF,
but
you don't know how good he is if you're watching clips on Instagram or YouTube. No, you know how good he is because you've watched his matches.
He can get bigger names a chance to really look at the product, and he can also be a wonderful bridge to some of those names. He can be like, Tony, meet Mark. Tony, meet Flair. Tony, meet whomever, because hi Lola. Because he has the equity built up with what I assume is going to be both parties. Because everyone's going to be a little tribalistic towards WWE, especially when they're long-time lifers like Edge. Because you've been there, so you're ingrained. You're part of the fabric of the damn company.
Yeah.
You're part of the then, now, forever together.
He carried that company for a long time.
He was the SmackDown guy.
Is there an Edge without? Is there a Cena without Edge? Is there an Edge without Cena? Is there an Edge without The Undertaker?
It's a great question. And so I think that's a guy that if this goes well, and I say if, not because of personality like Punk, but, can you stay injury-free and really have a true run? And that's always going to be a question until it isn't.
I think it bodes very well for what a lot of people, including myself, have predicted for Luchasaurus. Like, he's going to be this generation's that character, whether it's Undertaker, Kane, whatever you want to look at it. He's going to be this generation's type of character like that. And I think that's almost proven because that's his first match in AEW, fucking Luchasaurus.
Yeah.
How high in regard is Luchasaurus to Christian? Like, how good is he? We don't know, but fucking Christian does, because he wouldn't put his best friend in with a giant that isn't good.
Yeah.
He wouldn't. There ain't no way.
No, I think this opens the door to things that we didn't, because if Edge can sign with AEW and it goes well, anybody could sign with AEW. Anybody. And I mean anybody. Anybody.
Well, and he watches the product.
Yeah.
He name-dropped Nick Wayne, of all people that he wants to wrestle with. Again, another guy that Christian probably holds in high regard as far as wrestling ability, because how else is Edge going to know? Yeah, he can watch him on TV, but he gets the lowdown information from Christian. So if it wasn't for Christian, he wouldn't be here. There's no way.
Yeah,
he said it.
It's the bridge.
It's the bridge.
And so I think this is huge in terms of an active Hall of Famer has left the WWE, and I'm not putting down the other people that have came. And I mean, there was a time when Paul White coming was earth-shattering. I'm not knocking Paul White, but it was hard to call him a truly active.
Yeah,
wrestler.
but it was still like,
whoa, Vince Lifer left.
Whoa. That one was huge for that because he had been off TV for a minute, but like it was like, oh my god, that was the first. Oh my god, anybody can come here.
And then Mark Henry came, another Vince Lifer, and so
who bridged probably by the Big Show because they're really good friends.
Yeah, they're tighter than skater's pants. So this opens the door for even further. I mean, I know this is going to sound laughable to some, but is it now? I don't think it's no longer out of the question. I think it's very, very slim. But if it was a 0% chance, it's like a 2% chance. I mean, that might be the bridge to Mark Calloway looking at this company and going, maybe I could do something different. Because as much as you're loyal to the WWE, let's be honest, the guy you're loyal to is in a more overseas capacity. And do I think it's ever going to happen? No. But if the door was entirely closed, I think it becomes a little ajar thanks to Adam Copeland coming.
I'd agree.
If that makes sense?
Yeah.
Like, I know that's going to seem laughable to Ryan and Travis and others, but, like, when someone like Edge, a 25-year Hall of Famer, who was loyal to this company even when he was on a Legends deal with his neck injury, because you don't think that TNA didn't call him and go, hey, could you come manage Christian in this big match? Mm-hmm. Like, when you consider the fact that, like, Adam Copeland...
Yeah, because I think on Legends deals, you can do stuff as long as it's approved.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference between a Legends deal and a normal one. One of them.
And frankly...
Other than the huge mailbox money check, which is good for you guys. Get that money.
And frankly, as silly as this may seem, there may already be a bridge to someone like Mark Calloway in AEW, because remember, he was going to do the first StarCast, and Vince called him up and said, "What the dude?"
Yeah, I forgot.
So there might already be a bridge there. And again, do I think it happens? Absolutely not. But I can no longer rule it out when someone of the equity and the lifer of Edge is now in AEW and jumping ship. And frankly, I can't believe I'm saying this. I'd like to see it, because can you imagine the minds exploding? Some people just want to watch the world burn.
The internet would explode that day. That would be, I think that would be.
And Tony Khan has been known
Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce level news if The Undertaker walked down that ramp, or Mark Calloway, or what have. And you know what? He'd probably walk down as The Undertaker, because the Vince loves him just as much.
Yeah, go fine.
It's like, fine, just fucking do it.
Whatever.
I don't care, Mark.
Whatever.
Hate you.
Go kill yourself in AEW.
Fucking call me in a week. We'll go go out on the boats.
But if you think about it, if Edge is going to jump ship, anybody can. Anybody can. Ryan says currently, I'd say he's still behind Punk in terms of buzz, but let's see how the run goes, and I think he can take the top spot. How do you think Edge is going to be? And it's going to take me some time to get used to Adam.
Yeah, me too.
How do you think he's going to be presented? Is he? We know that Bryan Danielson is the quote unquote replacement for Punk on Collision. Is Adam Copeland now that replacement for Punk, period, in the company? Is he the top guy in the company? Is he the second guy?
He's the top guy right now. He's going to be booked like the top guy. He's not going to get the title in 3 months, because he's Edge and he's a professional. He's not going to want to fuck with this MJF story, even though it's kind of screwed up because Adam Cole's hurt. But he's not going to insert himself into something. He's a fucking professional. I wouldn't mind seeing him with that AEW championship, because I'll tell you what, out of a lot of guys,
if he stays healthy, it's happening.
It's a lot of guys, championships look good on that man. Championship, no one ever looks bad in a championship. But I always look back to when he had that world title. He looked so good in that world title.
Well, let's break that down, because I knew this was going to take a long time, because there's just so many what ifs to break down. Let's break that down.
Yeah.
Ryan says the wrestling fans would lose their shit if Taker or Cena ever jump ship. Those two would shake the world of the core if either of those two jump ship to AEW. Again, I don't think it ever happens, but I can't say never.
He's the common bridge between both of them.
I can't say never now, because Edge gives it a different air of legitimacy than, because I'm sure people like Taker and Cena looked at Chris, go do your thing. Go do your thing. Take this chance on this challenger brand. But Edge, who was just on, it hadn't even been 90 days. He was just on TV in August.
Wild.
I can no longer say never. Do I think it's very high? No, I'd put it like a 1% to 2% chance. But the fact that I can say 1% to 2% chance is way higher than I would have said last year.
Ryan, probably not. That's why I said that is Edge. He probably doesn't want a championship, but I
think he.
I wouldn't be mad.
I think AEW needs him to have a short transition.
I think he does too. I think it would help. It would bring more legitimacy to that championship, because I don't want to take anything away from MJF, Kenny Omega, or Jon Moxley. Yeah. They are not the stars that Jericho is. They haven't had and it doesn't mean that Omega can't get there and MJF is on his way to there, but they haven't had another guy like that's in it for the company. So CM Punk had it for 2 days, technically longer than that, but really,
But it's about if you're the Tony likes the term challenger brand. If you're the challenger brand and you're trying to get more mainstream eyes, a quick transition run with Edge. ESPN's running a headline on that. You don't get many of those.
No, you don't. No, they're. They're very much part of the WWE machine.
Yeah, USA Today is probably
publicity.
Running a story on it.
Oh yeah.
And so mainstream press is a big deal.
And let's be honest, another good thing about Jade leaving, that was earmarked money that he just gave to Edge.
Yeah, it's
probably a little bit more.
Yeah,
but because we don't know. But there was money earmarked for Jade.
From what I understand, he offered her more than
than what she asked for, like a lot more.
He essentially hinted to giving her the last offer he made was probably more than what she was worth. He pretty much alluded to, but because you can't
at this point,
right? In terms
in
terms of value, right now,
until she wins that Royal Rumble.
I think that I really do. I think a WWE or not WWE, AEW championship run would be really. Again, it doesn't need to be lengthy. It doesn't need to be he can get beat in 2-3 months. Just enough to really have a few defenses, maybe a pay-per-view, some collisions, some it's. By the way, they need to, because one thing that they are right about, that Travis and Ryan are right about, his body isn't what he used to be. That's a fair.
Same with all the old guys.
But I also think that he needs to, and this doesn't mean wrestle, but he needs to make regular appearances on all 3 shows.
He's going to. Like, he's wrestling on Dynamite, but he's just appearing on Collision.
Yeah, like, because he needs to be, not only does he need to be, a full-time guy, but he needs to be the biggest brand ambassador.
Just go ahead. I took some time. This is how I'm excited I am about Adam Copeland joining AEW. I took time. I did edit, not for clarity, not for clicks, because, like, Busted Open's kind of my barometer on what I think I am allowed to get away with. I never really hear him play media scrum stuff, so I trimmed down a bunch of shit. It's not the whole thing. It's 3 clips, 10 seconds apiece. I just thought they were important, and these words spoke to me, so I'm going to play it for the Buckle Brigade out here.
All right. Let's take a listen to Adam Copeland at the media scrum at the Wrestle Dream.
Part of coming here is that I wanted to contribute. I wanted to help. I've never been in a ring with Samoa Joe. I've never stood in a ring with Sting before tonight. After 31 years in the industry, that's never happened. It felt fun, and I felt almost like the same feeling I would have when I'd come out for my indie shows. At this stage of my career, to feel that's special. Absolutely plan to be helping out whoever wants help. Whoever comes and talks to me, I am an open book. And my 31 years of experience, if you want to tap into that, I'm a phone call, I'm a text, I'm a come talk to me face to face away.
And that right there, just, like I said, short clips of what Edge had to say. But even with 30 seconds of what Edge had to say, if you hear that and you are mad about Edge going to AEW, you don't like professional wrestling. I'm sorry, you don't. You don't. You like the WWE, and that's it, and that's fine. But don't sit here and say you're a wrestling fan. You're a WWE fan, and that's fine.
Ryan says, a TNT title run will be fine. That will legitimize that title. I agree, that would be wonderful. And then he said, finally, Jason McCarthy got Adam's name right. He's proud. We love you, Ryan. Look, I think people like Edge or anybody that's been in this business for any true length amount of time, like, that's exciting to see. It's exciting to try something new. There's a part of you that goes, yeah, I've been a part of the machine so long, but what
can I do by myself? What can I do without the machine behind me?
What makes these guys as great as they are as we've frozen up on this.
We disconnected for a second. We'll be all right. We're reconnected. It was just a second. I don't know what the deal is, but it's fine.
What makes these guys as wonderful as they are is they're driven differently than the rest of us. Mm-hmm. They're driven differently than most of the rosters. That's why they're icons, right?
That's fair.
So, like, if you're Edge, if you're, Adam Copeland, why wouldn't you want to be like, let me see what I can do. Let me see if I can add him a legacy. And if not, his legacy's set. Even if this is a bad run for some reason. Who cares?
That's fair.
Is it going to change their opinion, really?
No.
Like, I mean, there are certain guys, and we talk a lot about it. Their legacy's set.
I think The Undertaker's a fine example because he's, wrestled for a very long time, pretty much broken.
Yeah.
But do we really remember all of that? Like, we remember him losing to Brock. But, like, when you think of The Undertaker, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Greatness.
I was going to say throwing McFoley off the cage, but okay.
But,
like, I mean, I don't...
Just icon. I don't know.
what's the first wrestling situation that you can think of when you
Taker Shawn, WrestleMania 25.
There you go.
Without a doubt.
Far and away from when he called it a day.
Like, it's really special to see someone like Edge get a new lease on life. Because let's not forget, folks. Let's not forget. And I know we're dragging this out, but this is something that warrants all this chit chat.
Edge is important. Adam's important to me. There's too many Adams in that company. I'm not gonna have it.
Someone's got to change.
Someone's
got to change.
Someone change the name.
Someone's got to come up with some new names.
God bless America.
But is cool. Like, let's not forget. Let us not forget. It wasn't that long ago when Edge returned at the Royal Rumble, and we thought, wow, like we never thought we'd see this again.
Right?
It wasn't that long ago.
It really wasn't.
And so my question to the WWE fan or the people that say he sold out, were you happy to see him back, or were you just happy to see him back in WWE?
The latter, probably.
Like, were you, like, what happened to that? People like Bryan Danielson, people like Edge, people like Sting, to be fair, Sting's a lesser extent because he's had such a long career. But people like CM Punk, for that matter, we get so stuck in, and I'm guilty of this too. We get so stuck in the idea of, I don't want to put this, oh my God, we're so excited to see them back, but then within 6 months to a year, we're like, we don't like what they're doing, can't believe they went to that company, we can't, like, these are people that, like I said, the only one that I named there that maybe is an exception is Sting, and that's because, again, he had such an extended career, but still deserves the right to go out on his own terms. But guys like Danielson, guys like Edge, and to a lesser extent Punk because of how his exit from WWE was, we didn't know if we were ever going to see that again. We didn't know if we were ever going to get the chance to, and for a long time we thought we weren't. And we were just happy they were there. And I'm not saying like that. Like, obviously, the honeymoon phase wears off. That's life. But to go to, I mean, people on X or Twitter, whatever we're calling it now, we're calling Edge Judas. Judas.
That's ridiculous.
And I know that you're a questioner and I'm a believer. As a believer, and you're a man that has been brought up certainly in faith.
I grew up in the faith.
Like, so you understand just how far that statement is.
Yeah.
Edge is Judas.
Fucking egregious as shit.
Judas. Are you kidding me? In what world?
On.
In what world? Plus, it ain't like, and another thing, it'd be a little different. It would be a little different if he hadn't met his commitments. He's met his commitments. He's done his contract. He certainly at this stage of his career, but even from a legal standpoint, he doesn't owe anybody anything. He didn't walk out on the company. He did nothing but perform. I don't understand.
Sorry, guys, we are refreshing, so that's weird.
I do not understand why people are like, well, he's Judas. Well, he's this, or he's a turncoat, or he's a traitor. Did he fulfill his contract? Yes.
Yeah.
Did he leave during it? No. So I don't get it. I don't understand it. Like, you don't have to like the decision. I get it. It's tough to see our icons go to, because there is something about sentiment about the WWE brand, right? There is. It's the WWE. It's WWE in some ways is like the McDonald's of professional wrestling in terms of, even if it's not the greatest wrestling, if you find a McDonald's, you the right one. They're few and far between, but every now and again, to this day, you'll find a McDonald's and you'll go, yeah, that's the McDonald's you know and love and remember. The all of a sudden that double quarter pounder was fresh, the fries were cooked, and it was like, damn, that ketchup's hitting right too. But here's the thing, and we get nostalgic about that. We all have memories of McDonald's playing in the playpen thing, right?
Oh yeah.
There's a certain nostalgia to McDonald's.
And then you turn into a parent and you're like, they don't clean this? My kid is not playing in that fucking thing.
But there's a nostalgia to it, and that is again, if you find the right one, and it's rare nowadays, but every now and again you find one. If you're out on the road, traveling, you find the right McDonald's, and all of a sudden, and this isn't a food tangent, I got a point. I have a point. I'll bring it around town, trust me. You find it and you go, man, everything was hitting right. And fries are fresh cooked. The quarter pounder was right. The Big Mac, whatever your choice is, right? And it's what you know and you love and you remember. But more times than not, when you go to McDonald's nowadays, even if it's the biggest selling food in the world, and it pretty much is, right, as far as fast food chains go, right?
Oh, yeah, by far.
It isn't that great. Like, it'll get you through. I'm not putting down the fine folks, the Mickey D's, don't get me wrong. But it's at a certain point. If there's better options for you, then go to Wendy's, then go to Burger King, then go to a chicken joint. Point being, here's my point. Let me bring it around for you. Here's my point. Edge found the right option for him. If you were, and I'm not talking about anyone we know, but I'm talking about these tribalistic Edge's Judas fans.
That shit is wild.
On Twitter. If you were offered what is an astronomical amount of money, I'm sure, to come in.
No. You need to eat something in the deep fryer, or in the air fryer first. You are not eating. It's fucking dinner. Put the cookies. I ate fried chicken already. When? Literally 2 pieces? 2 pieces? Yes. Put in some pizza rolls before you have Oreos. Get out of here. That's fine.
You're McCarthy fathering. McCarthy fathering.
Finally, the internet's back. Sorry.
Hey, it's all right.
We're still recording. It's fine.
Yeah,
We're
it's fine.
recording through everything else. I didn't shut down OBS.
It's fine. We'll get back live and get this thing cranking and doing the
damn thing.
Doing the damn thing. And look, but people have to understand, like, if you got a great offer, it's a great offer. Well, if you have fulfilled your contractual obligations, what's wrong with that?
Absolutely nothing.
I've been critical of CM Punk and Stone Cold and other people that have walked out on the company. Why? Because I said they were advertised. They didn't fulfill their commitments. You don't know who paid such and such amount of money to see you in a nosebleed seat that night. You can't say that with this.
Nope.
He fulfilled his commitments to the utmost. He did an extra year just to say bye to Toronto. And at the time, I think he meant it. But you don't know what kind of offer he went, man, that's really cool. I can be 2 or 3 more years as a top dude. As a top dude in a challenger brand, I can see what happens, and maybe I can. And maybe Edge can do what CM Punk could not, and that's be the spark to a real revolution in professional wrestling. And that's what this business needs. And that's what this business needs. And I love the WWE. No one loves Vince McMahon more than me. And I know that's an unpopular statement. And even though he's in more of an overseas capacity right now in terms of what he does creatively at least, that's still his company. I haven't forgotten that. I haven't forgotten that at all. But at the same time, does the WWE give a shit about me? No. I don't know that AEW does either. But
they don't. That's fine.
But they
certainly hell fucking don't.
But they at least pretend on occasion. And where Vince ain't afraid to tell you, I don't give a damn what you people like. And so, like, at a certain point, you got a great offer. You got more money than you probably know more money than you can probably turn down. And you're going to a new place, and maybe you can be the leader. Because there's got to be some part of him that goes, what if I'm the catalyst?
Oh, we're back.
Welcome back, everybody, on the Facebook feeds. Sorry, we had some technical difficulties.
It was really weird.
It happens.
All the internet connectivity just said, no, thank you. It wasn't even slow. It just said, no, you can't connect to me right now. Kiss my ass. I'm like, damn.
It happens. And so, as I'm going to reshare it to our friends and neighbors. But welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. We appreciate that very much so.
Very much so. We try to be entertaining.
If we're not entertaining, I don't know what is.
That's fair.
But to my question to those people that say he sold out he's disloyal, he's this, he's that. And to some extent, I get your point on the disloyalty. I really do.
I don't.
To some extent, I get it.
He like you said, he fulfilled his contractual obligation.
Let me play devil's advocate here because we're the show by the fans for the fans. Let's represent a portion of the fans here. Devil's advocate.
All right, that's fair.
To some extent, I get it. Do I agree with it? No, but I get it. This guy's a WWE lifer, then now, forever together, part of the signature package, the whole nine. I get that. And I understand that we in our world. And maybe this isn't you, Mr. Ryan. Thanks for tuning back in, buddy. Appreciate it. Had a little technical difficulty on the stream. To some extent, though, I get where people are coming from with the anti-loyalty comment, because I get where it's like it's a new chapter of a book, and you're like, man, that's it is kind of like seeing Tom Brady in a Buccaneers uniform. It is kind of seeing Brett Favre in a Jets or a Vikings uniform. And it will be, we'll see what happens, but it will be an odd chapter no matter what. Even if it's the greatest run in history, right? It's going to be odd the fact that, wow, remember when he left the WWE? Someone at Edge. And so I get it where it's like, it feels weird seeing you play for a quote-unquote new team.
It feels weird, but, I mean, at the end of the day, we'll break it down to the simplest denominator. There is absolutely no loyalty in professional sports. On either side, you're either trying to make the most money possible, and they're trying to spend the least money possible. As soon as there's a kink in your armor, you're gone.
Well, I'm not going to say no, but I will say next to none. There are some loyal moments. There's some loyal.
There used to be. Sports is different now. Sports is a lot different now.
I think it's far less, but I think there's still the occasional exception. It's very rare.
They used to be like. Basketball is a great example. How long were the Bulls together?
Yeah, a long time.
How long were the Knicks together with Patrick Ewing? Like they didn't.
There was,
sports are different.
Right, and I get that. But I understand where people are coming from. It's the people that call him names like Judas that I'm like, he got a great offer. Yeah, he got a great offer.
He's doing what he thinks is best for him and his family.
And
it's fine.
And so, but I also think that maybe, to be fair to everybody, I think you're a little bit different when it comes to any sort of tribalism, because as a sports fan, as a traditional sports fan, I do have a different level of like, well, that really sucks. Like, if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and I'm not, I hate the Steelers and Bengals fan, like it's inbred in me. But like, can you imagine Ben Roethlisberger in another uniform? Really an odd thought.
That would be odd.
He is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I mean, Dan Marino. Yeah, that would have been weird.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm we're both Reds fans. I think it's fair to say, a bigger baseball fan than you.
I'd say, yeah. I think at one point in time, I would probably have eclipsed you, but yeah.
But we are staring at the possibility of either Joey Votto retiring or playing another uniform next year because his contract is up finally, and so. Like, the idea of Joey Votto not being a Red, especially if he were to play for another team next season, whoa. Like, you look at guys, going back to your era, maybe a little bit before your time, truly, but, like, the idea of when Pete Rose was a Philadelphia Philly, that's nuts.
Oh, my, you always forget about that.
Yeah, or
always forget about that.
Like, that's such a weird thing.
I used to have that baseball card.
And so... I get where people are like, that is crazy. Yeah, I get where people go, well, damn, that sucks that he's not going to. I understand people not liking a new chapter to a story. It's form. The world doesn't like change.
Is that a racing reference?
Let me see what happens.
Harry Kane leaving Tottenham?
No, I think that's a soccer reference.
Oh.
He's getting really into soccer.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not.
Cool.
I'm not there.
I used to play soccer. I enjoy going to a soccer game. That shit's fun.
Given the state of my feet, I think I'm a little bitter towards soccer.
That's fair.
It's
kind of required.
Game where you do nothing but kiss my ass.
They invented it just to spite you.
Yeah, that was certainly it.
Nostradamus invented soccer.
And so
I'm going to really get this Logan guy in 200 years.
I get it. But also, if the contract was put in front of you, the people that say, well, Ed sold out, or he did this, or he did that, would you really stay because of the idea of WWE? Because if they have nothing for you in terms of other than a match here or there, and you feel like you got something left, look, because I know Edge is a lot, but Edge is still, and this is not young, the following Edge I'm about to say. But at 49, you can have a good 2 or 3 years left.
Well, and to call him Judas, for example, have you listened to anything that this man has said? This man was like this as far as on the scale. We had AEW on one side, we had WWE on the other, and it was equal as fuck. What did he have to do? He had to sit down at his table and ask his daughters to increase the weight of one over the other. And they said, go have fun with Uncle Jay. And like he said, not that he wasn't having fun in WWE, but there's nothing like ending your career, especially in the wrestling business, with your best friend. When was the last time, if ever, something like that happened?
I agree. So my question is, and then we'll start moving along. How long do you think that career is? Are we looking at 1 more year? Are we looking at 2 more years? Are we looking at 3? I'm talking about if things go to plan.
If things go to plan, 3 to 5.
Okay, 3 to 5. So this is not a quick 1 year.
No, he's in it for the long haul. I think a part of why he's in it for the long haul is for what Tony Khan said about Bryan Danielson.
Really?
He said he told his dad if anything were to happen to him, call Danielson.
Yep.
I think Edge heard that, and he was like, I can be that guy too. I think that's when the help clicked in his head. He was like, I can do that too. Because I'm pretty sure they worked together on creative in WWE at one point in time.
They did. They were both.
So they both know what each other brings to the table, and that could be something that is, that Edge wants to do. He's planning for the twilight of his life. Maybe he doesn't want to leave the wrestling business ever, but maybe there's more of creative input he can have in the future when he's ready to hang up the boots away from, part-time or one-offs or whatever for AEW. Maybe that's what he wants. Because, you can look at it. Yeah, Triple H is in his position partially because of the family he married into. But, you look at the family that he married into, Shane has been fired multiple times. Stephanie was let go a couple times. She's even left the company. Yep, you can't even, that gave him a chance. But if he didn't prove himself, you think he'd still be in the position that he is? Vince McMahon's loyal, but he ain't that loyal. You start affecting his money, there's problems.
Vince is only loyal to those who are loyal to him.
That's fair.
That's just the way it is. And I don't think that means he's going to undercut Edge or Christian.
No.
But Vince is a different cat in terms of money is the be all end all in terms of bottom line is the be all end all. If you affect that, if you somehow jeopardize that, he or get in the way of his weird vision, unique vision, he don't give a shit.
Yep.
Sorry. I think there's a reason that Stephanie McMahon's not in that company right now. There's a reason.
Probably.
There's a reason that Shane McMahon is if he is a part of the company right now, it's only as we'll bring in here and there performer. There's a lot of different things that play in, and so Ryan says it sounds like he wasn't having fun since he says feels free now. I don't know if that means he wasn't having fun, but obviously the WWE machine is much stricter than AEW ever
That's
is.
exactly what the man said. If you guys would listen to his fucking interviews.
This is where you get a little too easy, pal.
Because it's annoying.
Oh, sure, but let's take a breath.
Listen to the interviews. Listen to what the man says. There was a reason why I took time and cut out the thing, because the internet exploded because Edge had the nerve to go to AEW. Listen to the man's words.
All right.
Listen to what the man says before you come at him and bitch at him or come at me or try to make comments on the podcast. Listen to shit.
Well, actually, I think you should go ahead and be able to make all the comments you want. Even
that's fine, but what are we doing? Exactly. Sorry, Ryan, but exactly. Who has There's probably a lot of people that have opinions about Edge that have not listened to the media scrum and have not read his message on Twitter and have not done this and have not done that, but they have 800 opinions on the matter.
Question, Ryan. Question, bud. Question. Why don't you want to listen to the media scrum? Is it?
He said he didn't. It's not that he doesn't want to. He just didn't.
I really think you should. I think because a lot of these questions you have.
It's the last one I listened to since Brawl Out because it was important.
I think a lot of these questions you have, I don't
a lot,
they didn't answer them all, but it really gives you an idea of his mindset. I think the people that look at this as some for lack of a better term, turncoat moment. He said that he just felt like the relationship grew apart.
That's not a big deal,
and that happens. Like that certainly, relationships change and evolve all the time in business and personal, whatever. And so I don't think, especially for a WWE person coming into the company, he without a doubt was the most respectful to WWE anybody has been. In terms of all the WWE people that have come into the company,
he's never had a bad word to say. You
can tell he's not going to take a shot. He's not going to do anything of that nature. He just felt like it ran its course.
And to be fair to everyone that I've yelled at, let's be clear.
You're doing a lot of that today, bud.
Because I'm very intentionally tied to Edge.
I just
like with Chris.
Well,
I'm defending Edge. I don't need to. I don't have the platform to, but my fandom won't let me not.
I hear you. Hey, if anyone knows that, it's me, right?
Because, I mean, he's been, like I said at the top of the show, on my wrestling television screen since I got into it. And he's just as important to my fandom as Chris Jericho is. I will defend that man.
If anyone gets that, you're talking to the guy that does.
The only thing I won't defend those two are, like, criminal activities. Bad things.
Well,
everything else I will defend.
Well, I probably will.
Well, it does, matter on the severity of the offense, I guess, probably. I would hope.
Look, I personally, here's my thing. Here's my thing.
But and then Travis, it's also hard not to read it as a shot. Then don't read it. Go listen to the words and how he said it. It's not a shot.
Yeah, it's really not.
He said it was a totally different feeling. It was like I was on the indies again. Yeah. He didn't say anything bad about the WWE.
He said it publicly right there on the scrum.
That's fine, Travis. If you're not trying to argue and that's your opinion, well, get a full opinion. Listen to how he said it. You can read anything the way you want to. But damn it, you're on the show. Be a professional and listen to the words that he said.
And to be fair to Edge, keep in mind, right there in front of Tony Khan, he still said he loves WWE.
Yes, he did.
He said, I'll still watch the WWE. He did not. It was not one of the. You're right about the fact, Travis, that, we've been in a little condition. I think everyone's taking a shot. But you got to hear the context of those words and the tone of those words.
You can't just read it.
And so you can tell.
And I'm sorry that I'm going a little extra at Ryan and Travis, but we were all in school together. That's kind of the rule. You have to listen to things. You can't just read little snippets and report on them and comment on them in the business we're trying to get in.
And so I didn't. So I can understand if you took it out. If you took it reading the what are they called? Transcript. Transcript. I get it. I get where you could see that. If you go back and actually watch the video, or even just like a highlighted, edited clip of the scrum, you'll see that there's nothing but love for WWE in that man's heart, and it's just a matter of and remember, we reportedly, and it doesn't mean these are facts, I want to state that, reportedly they were far apart on money when they're trying to work out the new deal to extend his contract. Money's money, and if you're going to, this company just got sold for $9 billion in terms of sold to Endeavor.
And see, Travis, that's why we need you back on the show, because I read what you said, but I didn't know the tone you meant it in because it's on a screen, and I didn't know that you were referring to all the crazies. Well, I could have known that if he was sitting next to us. I mean, he's got to work, so I'm not trying to be a jerk. But
I'm glad he's tuned in.
I would have understood. We wouldn't have had this issue just now.
Look, people have to.
And please, nobody, don't listen to it now.
Yeah.
Listen to the rest of our show, then listen to it.
Look.
Don't go away.
Or if you do, you can pull up a window and have us.
Mute us. That's fine. Listen to it and then come back to us.
Like, I get it. In Ryan said in Travis Knapp's defense, most people who leave take a shot at WWE. Yeah, of course, but I mean,
Those are guys that had bad experiences in the company.
but I mean, all kidding aside, the rare times it feels like a shot at AEW is taken, we would cheer that on the WWE side.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, we all, including myself, so I'm not.
Because didn't Triple H or Vince call him like a nothing company, and the WWE fans rallied behind that like crazy?
Well, Triple H called them a T-shirt company.
Yeah,
Vince is never publicly like.
And that was pushed to the moon, and Triple H is right, and but a talent says something, and
I think
the world is over.
I think that it comes down to, and including myself sometimes, we all like the idea of a war because we all are nostalgic for a war. We're all nostalgic for the Monday Night War, and we like the idea of. Let me be clear. I don't like the idea of people putting each other out of business, but I like the idea of like we hate you. Does that make sense?
I don't like that. I don't.
And sometimes Tony Khan has played into that. Sometimes. And let me give you a great
He's
example.
made comments.
Yeah.
I'm not absolving him of anything.
Because let's remember it was last year at one of the media scrums where he took offense to WWE scheduling a show on like Labor Day weekend, and he takes a big drink of sparkling water or whatever he was sipping on, and he goes, I'm not going to take this fucking shit. I'm not going to sit back and take, And so I think we're all a little...
Well, you have to have that attitude, like, because, I mean, and that's counter-programming. Vince had every right to do that, and Tony Khan has every right to try and respond in that. Maybe he shouldn't have said anything during the scrum, but, like, that's how business works, especially the media business. You're counter-programming. It just didn't work out in the WWE's favor the last time they tried to do it.
Ryan says that WWE doesn't resort to those levels taking shots like that. I mean, maybe not lately, but they certainly have.
They've taken shots, and
they certainly like. Maybe
Travis is laughing. They've made comments like this, and let's not forget the creative freedom in AEW that allows you to kind of cut your own damn promos. If they feel that way, that's how they feel.
Yeah, and also Ryan, maybe in recent memory you would be correct because maybe they don't want to give the legitimacy to AEW. But let's not forget, I mean, I know it's been nearly a decade now, but Sting was brought into this company to, revive the Monday Night War for a night and have Triple H beat him just because he was a WCW guy. Going back to Booker T, the reason Sting never signed after WCW shut down, The Rock turned around and went, who the hell are you, to Booker T when he debuted. So in recent memory, perhaps you are correct, but let's not pretend that WWE has never resorted those shots. And let's not pretend. And frankly, they certainly did. They did on Triple H and Vince put NXT on Wednesdays just to screw with them.
Mm-hmm. And they lost.
And I know that people can say, well, that was Vince's idea. And so I know it's because I'm a Vince guy, but we absolve Triple H of so much. And I don't mean you and I. I'm talking about the people that hate Vince, but for some reason, like, Triple H is still there and supporting this company and has been through everything. He's never walked out and protest.
Nope.
He's never said, I can't do this. He's never said, I won't tolerate this. Vince's own daughter is not in the company for some reason at this moment. My assumption is as a former protest to what has taken place over the last year. Don't know that. Have no idea. But we absolve, as a fan base, for some reason, those who hate Vince McMahon, and that's a lot, for some reason absolve Triple H, even though he's been the right-hand man and continues to be to the Satanist evil man himself. Like,
he ain't never walking away from that cash cow.
Like,
not even the cash cow. I think at the end of the day, this became his new dream because he fulfilled one. And he has I know Triple H has the mind for it. It may not always come across in all of his matches and all of his feuds, but he's got a great pro wrestling mind. And this became a new dream, to run a successful wrestling company. This is the best way to do it for him.
But do you agree with me that for some reason people like Travis and Ryan, and that's the majority, are able to some reason completely separate Vince?
I love Ryan.
He's honest. But do you agree with me in the sense that people like Travis and Ryan are for some reason able and willing to completely separate the two when certainly Triple H has got some quote-unquote dirt or blood on his hands just from being around? Because if you think he's not having heavy say at the time when NXT goes to Wednesdays, you're full of shit. There's no way. There is no way. There's none. I'm not saying that he made the final say, but I think we would have heard if he was against it. I think we would have heard if he was protesting it. I think we would have heard those things.
And I'll be honest, maybe they would have won if it was like now. Like, NXT doesn't feel all that separate, really.
I don't think so.
I don't think they would have won either, but I think the numbers would have been closer, and I think that there would have been more continuity between it. Like, because, yeah, they put them on Wednesday, but I don't remember, like, the machine really getting behind NXT on Wednesday nights when they made that jump.
I think it's because they thought the WWE name could carry NXT to wins. Period.
Probably.
Without a bunch of effort to.
But Triple H with most of the say, and Shawn kind of running NXT, there's a closer relationship,
sure.
Which is weird because it was Vince and Triple H just on, Vince's main roster, Triple H's NXT. You would think they would be on the exact same page.
But I guess it's easier to be on the same page with your best friend
than it is with Vince McMahon, probably.
As opposed to your very loony boss.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, yeah, I just personally, and again, I know I'm a Vince guy, and so maybe my defense of him is blinding me a hair, but I think the ability that we have as wrestling fans or an IWC to completely separate the two and absolve Triple H of any quote-unquote wrongdoing ever, and I'm not arguing that there is wrongdoing. I'm saying if anything is bad in that company, it's Vince. If anything is good in that company, it's Hunter, and that does not ever make sense to me.
Kind of a little bit of both.
Because they're too tied together. They think the same way. They have the same amount of bathroom humor, and it's just I just don't understand that. And so my point being is Triple H will work to undercut and guess what? If AEW ever starts beating wrong on the demo again, they're going to start undercutting them.
Yeah, they will.
Because WWE and most of the world, by the way, are spiteful, petty,
and I don't even know if that's going to happen. I just have this really weird feeling they are putting all their baskets in the United Kingdom. Something tells me they got Fulham FC. Jacksonville really sounds like it's leaving the country.
Well, they're playing back-to-back London games for 2 weeks in a row. That's
true. And it is well documented that is their hot spot. I think that's why, Warner Brothers is giving them this, deal on Max, where their pay-per-views are going to be on Max and probably cheaper in 2024.
I can't wait for that to be official.
Either I can't. It's official, but it just hasn't started yet. I saw the official announcement and read it. December might be on it, but they're not sure. But definitely 2024, they're on Max for their pay-per-views.
I cannot wait for that.
And I think that's what makes me upset with the ratings too. I think, and I don't know what the ratings are per se. I don't know how much they're beating WWE in the United Kingdom. I don't know how much the WWE beats AEW here because I don't give a shit. Probably should more because of what we do, but I don't. It's been documented many a time on this show.
Well, luckily, one of us on this show and out of this wrestling group of ours heavily does pay attention.
I'm glad because I hate it.
I give, I've always told people this. You can disagree with my opinion until the cows come home. That's fine. But don't ever say I'm not informed. That's only my thing.
I would like to know if the viewership in WWE here and in the United Kingdom combined.
I'll do some digging.
And then same with AEW, what their ratings are in the United Kingdom and what their ratings are here, and combine them. And then you see, I bet it's closer than people want to believe. And worldwide appeal. We get lost in just the America, but both of these companies are kind of worldwide companies. Sure. And I think we shortchange both of them.
Probably. Both of them
in that aspect of forgetting that they are big in other countries. One might be bigger than the other. They might be, I don't know whether even they are in Japan. Probably, I'm assuming AEW more because in Japan you can watch it on New Japan World, but I don't know.
It's interesting.
I think it would be interesting to look at that.
And that is another thing that Adam Copeland's going to be able to do. He is not the household name of Chris Jericho or perhaps even CM Punk because of the 7-year exit. But he's a guy that people can go in other countries. That opens doors. Mm-hmm. Because, again, I go back to as much as people didn't like their run in TNA, Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair opened foreign doors in TNA that they never had a sniff of. By Dixie Carter and Jeff Jarrett's own admission, he's talked about it a lot on his podcast with Conrad. People can criticize Hogan and Flair for going there. Without them, they probably don't get a TV deal in India. They said for sure, Jeff Jarrett told Conrad, for sure, we got a call from Africa. We didn't even know, we were like, what? Africa wanted to do their program, weekly TNA, because Hulk Hogan was there.
Yep.
Because he's the most recognizable at one point.
He was the most recognizable.
And he's still probably top 5 most recognizable.
Yeah, everybody
wrestlers on the
knows
face
who
of the
Hulk
planet.
Hogan is.
And so people have to understand this is not always about and it happens in football, baseball too. It is not always about the on-field product completely. We wish it was, but it isn't. It is a global business if you're running a franchise, a wrestling company, whatever. It's bigger than what can Edge do in the ring. Yeah, that's paramount.
It's very important, but I also want to see what he can do.
Brand.
Bring in the brand and how he can help the younger generation.
It's big.
This is going to be the biggest match of Luchasaurus' career because he's standing across the ring from Edge.
Yeah,
this is a man that has been the TNT champion, has wrestled some of the best that AEW has to offer there for a while.
We have a true blue Hall of Fame iconic name. And I mean, there's a few of those in AEW, but not many.
What, Sting, Edge?
Yeah. As far as
I don't think there's anybody else.
As far as active wrestler goes, that's it.
That's it.
That's pretty much it. And I mean,
yeah, because Paul White's not. He's in the
not,
Hall of Fame yet. I don't think Mark Henry is.
No, he did go in.
Did Mark go in? I can't remember.
So
they have 2 in the ring and 1 that works in the back.
Jake Roberts is in the Hall, but again,
he's right. He's never there.
But he's not quite the iconic name that. Well, he's not there because for some reason his homeboy won't get booked. I don't know why.
He's so excited for the bidding war of 2024. Ryan Hill is.
Let's talk about that.
Bidding war of 2024?
This is such an odd podcast we're having.
It really is. And
Fun.
This is so fantastic. So, I mean, I guess this kind of leads into what I talked about in the Buckle Chat Saturday. But I think everybody was watching football and didn't respond to my idea.
I have to tell you, I just now read your idea like today.
Oh, all right, that's fair. See, everybody's watching football. While I was watching Saw 10.
Peachy Rodriguez, Sean Lyle tuned in.
Hi, guys.
Said MJF won't go anywhere. Never say never, my boy. Never say never.
Yeah, I can't say anywhere, but I don't think it would be a good idea.
Ryan goes, Adam can win the AEW championship when MJF goes to WWE in 2024. So much time for the bidding war, boys. Look, I think if Cody Rhodes can go to WWE, MJF can.
Yeah.
It's all about what is the machine, what are Triple H, Vince, or whomever is going to do that now in the new Endeavor era. It's all about what can we offer you? And if they offer you the world, the idea to be one of the faces of the WWE, when you're a young guy like MJF, that is really hard to turn down. That is really hard to turn down. Or if you're someone with unfinished business like Cody, that's really hard to turn down. And
I'm going to say this right now. As long as he makes the decision that is best for him, I will still support him.
Now, I would say...
I don't think it would be a good move because of the type of talent he is. It would take at least a year probably for him to cut believable promos in the WWE system because they wouldn't be his words. I think that would do damage to the MJF character.
MJF, to me, if he went to WWE, and again, I'm not saying because I'm sorry. After seeing Edge go to WWE, I'm done saying nobody's.
Yeah, no. Like I said,
I'm done with that. Like I said, I now wouldn't be completely stunned if Mark Calloway pops in AEW. I just don't know anymore.
That's why I'm just saying, with MJF, it would work eventually, but at first it would take time for him to get used to, for one, remembering lines that he didn't come up with himself and learning how to say them he believes them when they're not his words.
But you do wonder.
But he's good enough to do it. It would just take time.
Peachy says, who wants a watered-down version of MJF?
Nobody really.
I hear you on that. I do wonder if it would turn into a Shane Douglas, Dean Douglas thing. Shane Douglas, when he's Shane Douglas, ECW, the franchise, Shane Douglas was one of the greatest promo cutters on the face of this planet. I don't care what anyone says. I know a lot of people don't like Shane because he's so outspoken and he's not afraid to say whatever the hell he wants, and every fifth word is medical school. Because he went to medical school.
Because he went to
Yeah.
I went to media school.
And so, but people that from about 94 to 98 there, before he left the WCW, you can make an argument in the 90s he was one of the top 5 wrestlers on this planet.
Yeah.
You can make an argument there. With his run in ACW, he's a very underrated name as far as that company goes, because for some reason people don't remember him with the nostalgia they do a Dreamer or a Van Dam or a Sabu or a Sandman. And maybe that's because he went to WCW. I don't know. So you wonder, would it turn into a Dean Douglas type situation where that's not what. But at the same time, and while you're right, Peachy, about who wants a watered down MJF, in this era, maybe that wouldn't happen because remember, Vince McMahon bought Cody Rhodes as Cody Rhodes.
And,
so maybe they have learned from that previous era.
Honestly,
mistakes.
he's, other than, like, because Jade's still clay as far as wrestling experience goes. I mean, she's not that much younger than I am.
Yeah.
Like, she's a full-fledged adult, has a child, has made life decisions that affect other people than herself.
Married to Brandon Phillips, longtime Red.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy?
Yep.
Hi, Jade. Will you be on our show? We're Reds fans.
Yeah.
Very much so. I like I know of Brandon Phillips, and I don't watch baseball that much.
Dad, dude, BP.
I lost track of what I was trying to...
Well,
because of the Cody Rhodes thing. Like, and in a sense, they're buying Jade Cargill.
Yeah.
She's clay right now. She can learn. There's so much that she's going to learn, and she's going to explode and be a superstar for the WWE. MJF, the same thing. Like, he's not clay. He's ready-made for television, and I think this is the unsung best part about AEW. Tony Khan doesn't copyright a goddamn thing. The wrestlers copyright everything, so that anyone
he should, but
it's a platform for him. He loves what he does in the way he does it.
And I respect it, but all kidding aside, if you are competing with the WWE as they kind of are, right? You're competing with people that wouldn't cross a mud puddle for you. They will stab you in the back just because they could. And so to play, and I don't mean to be rude or awful or Vince-like or Triple H-like or whatever, but all kidding aside, you're dealing with people that are cutthroat and nasty in the sense of they'll certainly do it to you, so why wouldn't you do it to them?
Well,
Does that make sense?
It makes sense, but here's the other side of that coin. There's not much he can. He doesn't come up with the ideas. He doesn't really come up with the gimmicks. You're kind of in charge of you.
Sure.
So there's no way for him to copyright it. Like most of the things that everything that Vince copyrighted, he came up with.
Well,
mostly, or allegedly, or someone in the WWE came, not necessarily Vince, but the company as a whole, the machine came up with this idea. It's mine.
Sure. It's mine.
Which is why, like, Edge can't show up as Edge. He has to show up as Adam Copeland.
Peachy says, I'm excited to see Jade work with all the female talent. Some great matches there. I agree. Going to Jade for a second, because we're just kind of flying by the seat of our pants.
Really kind of are.
And I kind of like it. I like when the fans drive.
This is a good one.
I want the people to drive the show. The show is for us and them.
Even though I might yell at you.
We'll see what happens.
Not you the fan.
Well, you might yell.
I don't mean anything personal by it.
But do you think Jade starts out in NXT or she's going right to the main roster?
It's already been said she's on Raw.
I think that's a mistake.
I don't think so.
I think that's a mistake.
But I don't think she shows up on Raw next week.
Well,
I think it's a Royal Rumble thing.
The new report is. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen.
Uh-oh.
Hold on, ladies and gentlemen.
Because I feel like if they were going to do something, they would have done it last night and had her beat up Nia Jax.
Per PW Insider Elite.
Oh, good.
The Elite version.
The Elite version, which means it's only 75% lies?
We'll see what happens.
Instead of 95% lies?
The Jade Cargill is penciled in to be a WWE's Fastlane Premium Live event. And while Cargill is reportedly slated to be in attendance for the Premium Live event, it's unknown if she will be appearing on screen. And then, remember, she posted a series of tweets last night. She, live tweeted Raw.
Oh, yeah, she did. Well, it's because she's going to be on Raw.
And so there's some rumors that she might be at Raw on Monday.
I think she's too big for NXT. As a name, I think she's too big.
Here's why I think
she's too big.
Here's why I think she should do 6 months.
Because I think she's good enough. as long as she's in there with the right person to get better, because that's the only way she's going to get better.
Because, and I hear you, but I think 6 months in that NXT system, little less pressure, little less eyes, and plus that's another reason, brings a little more eyes to the NXT product, which they need it.
They do, But I mean, I don't think that's what she wants. I think she wants to get thrown in the deep end.
I don't give a damn what these people want.
I think it's very obvious because she didn't
Sure.
stick around with AEW that she wanted more. She wanted that pressure. She's one of those people that thrive on that shit.
Jade Cargill, in my opinion, is proof, because you're right? You're right about she wants more. They need to beef up their women's roster.
Yeah, they do. Well,
because you just lost a blue chipper.
But you also think about it. Who did she even wrestle?
I hear you.
Like they did not give her the opportunity to wrestle. The skill of the WWE women's roster per amount of women's wrestlers on the roster is way better than AEW. AEW has a lot of up-and-coming new people that are green as shit, and that's okay. But they did have big names that have a lot of history in this business that didn't step in the ring with Jade Cargill.
Sure.
And cool, she got a super cool winning streak, and first TBS Women's Champion, and she's got a lot of history there. But like, they didn't challenge her at that point. Like they weren't and like I said, there's way more like experienced women on the WWE roster than an AEW, but there were still some really experienced women on that AEW roster that she didn't step in the ring with at all.
PG says she may appear on TV soon but won't have a match for a few months. I agree with you. I think this is proof, though, because they just lost a blue chip prospect, because Jade Cargill, I've gone back and forth on her a lot. I saw her brief return at Collision when I was there. She's a blue chipper, as JR would say back in the day. And to lose a prospect of that caliber is awful.
It is awful.
And so I think Tony needs to take some of the money that he's spending on aging male talent. And I'm not saying you can't do that, but Tony seems to be almost a bottomless pit. Not quite, but almost. You need to spend that on some names that will attract other women to come in your roster. I'm talking about names like Mickie James. I'm talking about, Trish Stratus just finished up a run. I'm talking about when Charlotte Flair's contract comes up.
When Beth Phoenix is available, I'm sure she'll be there.
Right. Beth Phoenix is one. When Charlotte Flair's contract comes up, especially now that it appears the rumors of the divorce are not true with Andrade.
Oh, that's good.
I
thought that was weird because he did the figure eight the other night. I'm like, still?
And so
cool. You guys are going to get along after the divorce? That's rare as shit.
But
good for them. I'm happy for them.
They need to talk.
That was just bullshit, like Triple H and Stephanie's was. Thanks. Good stuff.
He needs to toss some serious money at some of the biggest women's stars, not only of all time, but in today's business, because then that will attract women like Jade Cargill to say, I can't leave here.
I think that was we all have differing opinions on the Impact AEW partnership over those 2 years, of the pandemic and coming out of it. We all have differing opinions. I will say that is one well that they neglected to tap that they should have. They have some of the best women's wrestling
on
the planet in Impact Wrestling. It's a real shame that they did not tap that talent to help the Jades and the other green people.
That was such a weird deal.
It really was.
And the way that Kazarian transitioned over
and
is not AEW related at all.
And even and he's what he said sounds very similar to what Edge said. I wanted more. They didn't have more for me, so I went here where I can do more. And it's Frankie Kazarian, not Edge. There's a distinct difference between the two as far as name value, but not as far as experience.
Sure. He's one of those ones that he's like Frankie Kazarian is one of those talents that's like the North Star. You can
still remember that weird pirate gimmick.
You can, but he's one of those talents. He's like the North Star. You can guide your boat by him, and what I mean by that is he's solid, steady as a rock. You will not have a bad match, a bad promo. You'll never say he's an all-time great, and that's only because of where he's booked out on the card. But because when you look at him, when you look at the promo ability, when you look at him in ring ability, he's going to go down as one of those vastly underrated guys.
Yeah.
Absolutely he will. And so my thing for AEW is that they should absolutely spend buku, boys, to get some of these the biggest women in the world.
I agree.
Because Jade Cargill, and maybe it was the Machine, and if it was solely the Machine, you can't do anything about that.
I think that
But
it sounds like.
But if it was solely that, then nothing you can do. But if it was, I want the opportunity to wrestle Charlotte Flair or Bianca Belair or Becky Lynch, or the list goes on, then you need to start beefing up your roster a little bit to make WWE less attractive. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe the Machine is why she went, and you lost her anyway. But we talk at length about how, I don't want to say neglected, but the women's roster is certainly not the priority it should be often on AEW. And so for that, you have to go, well, why? And how do we change that? And how do we inject life into that women's roster? And I'm not putting down the incredible Statlander's on a great run.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see Trish.
Again, another bridge.
There's a lot
Edge,
of connections. Edge, Christian, Chris Jericho. There's a lot of connections there.
It is, to me.
And that's a good thing.
You have to start really investing in that area, because if that is one of the key reasons you lost Jade Cargill, you can't allow that with a Chris Statlander.
No.
You can't allow that with a Britt Baker. No. You can't allow that.
What is with Britt Baker lately?
What do you
she
mean?
has cooled off hard. Like, it is not the same.
Well,
it's weird. It is not even close to the same.
I
know she's not on TV very often.
I think it's.
But even when she is, it just feels different.
I got to tell you. Here's what I think it is. I think it's it's not her. It's not anything she's doing. It's that everybody's surpassing her. If that makes sense.
That's fair.
And so, you kind of either adapt or die.
And maybe that's why she walked away from the dentistry. Because she did take a break from that. Maybe she's trying to get to that next step.
You kind of adapt or die, and
it is the same.
Whether it's, and I'm not saying it. Hey, I'm not saying it doesn't work. We all still love the DM.
Oh yeah,
but it's starting to become. What's the word? It's starting to become that's what you do just because that's what you do. And what I mean by that is it's kind of artificially over.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Like now it's kind of
we're kind of programmed just to do it.
It's like in some ways, and I'm not putting down your boy, but like the Judas thing, not nearly as hot as it once was, but you do it because that's what you do.
They all do it.
And so I think you either adapt or kind of die, right? I think there's a lack of evolution because it's largely been the same character for 4 years now. And unfortunately also, because she's a new name in terms of not a legend. And also unfairly because she's a woman, I think there's more pressure to keep up and change. And
that's probably true.
And also she's a victim of other people getting hot. Thanks to
true.
her.
Thanks to her, yeah. I'm not trying to take anything. I just I don't understand. I just don't feel the fan support I used to, and it's weird.
She ended up, and I'm not saying that she did it entirely herself. I don't want to take credit away from the individual I'm about to name, but she ended up, getting Jamie Hayter more over than she was.
That was so organic and weird.
And now we're all kind of into Toni Storm right now because she's got this new character.
Fantastic character work right now.
And people like Ruby and Saraya have come in. And so I don't think it's anything that Britt Baker is doing in terms of she is slipping. It's that she's kind of in place, and it might be a very solid place, but it's still in place.
That's fair.
So it becomes we are a new shiny toy business. That's the truth of it. It sucks.
Well, I mean, on the other side of the coin, because you guys know how much of a fan of Britt Baker I am. I have the fucking bloody T-shirt.
But she and this could change tomorrow.
I hope it does.
But she right now feels like, in terms of getting over and appeal, she feels like Natalya. She's respected, she's beloved, but we put her in there to get her on TV some, get some experience with another gal. and then see you next week. Thanks for doing your job.
And to be fair, I did hear her say it's her job right now to get the rest of the roster over. I did hear her say that in an interview. That's her job right now, and she accepts it, and she's fine, and she knows her time will come. But I just don't, like I said, it's not the fans behind her just doesn't seem the same, and it's not like booze. It's not turning on her. It's weird. Yeah,
there's an indifference unless she's in a town that she's close to, in terms of like Pittsburgh or State College, because she's from PA, went to Penn State and all that. There's an indifference about her, and that's because I think where she's at right now is a little stale. Because let's be honest, she doesn't have any direction.
She doesn't.
As a character, she doesn't. The last time she had direction was a little bit towards the all-out build, or all-in build.
Kinda.
Yeah.
I mean, even before that, it really wasn't. She
But,
had direction with Hater.
She had direction in terms of. She had a few weeks there where all of a sudden her focus was, I got to get the championship back. Because before that, after the Hater injury, kind of floating, and now kind of floating. Because why isn't Britt Baker, DMD, why isn't she more gun to try and get a championship, the TBS championship that she's not won, or the women's championship that she so. It
would be so easy to book two different women's matches if you're using Britt Baker more often.
It's not that hard. And from a character standpoint, if you're Tony and Britt, it's like, well, why? Britt Baker shouldn't be, because she's only 4 years into this run, she shouldn't be the respected veteran that's lost her edge. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like I said, it doesn't make sense that she's being treated a little bit like Natalya, but Natalya's been there since you and I were biting ankles.
Fair. Well, maybe since you were.
Yeah, but you get my point. Well, hyperbole is how we sell around
like
here,
my
right?
age.
Yeah,
so
but my point being is, like, that makes a little more sense. Britt Baker's still in the, and I'm not putting down Natalya. She's got plenty to offer, but much like maybe Edge, she might need to change the scenery.
Oh my God!
Just pointing that, just speaking that.
Please.
She might need to change the scenery because every now and again you just do.
Because then we would probably get Tyson Kidd in a backstage role too.
That's what gets your jollies.
He knows what to do. He's a good
he's
a good match agent.
I'm not saying he's not, but I think they got enough agents.
They probably do. It's fine.
They got enough agents.
They just label agent so he can pay people a lot of money they can't wrestle anymore. Because he's nice.
Well, as much as I appreciate the generosity,
I would like to see them more on TV.
From a morality standpoint, I got you, bud.
Where is Lance Archer and Jake the Snake Roberts?
But like from a generosity standpoint, I got you. Hey, appreciate it. But actually, stick them on TV.
Can I see them, please? That would be great.
And so, my point is like, it's weird that she's in this respected veteran role. It has been for a while now, like this last 6 months or so. Well,
it's weird because she's only 4 years in, but
what would you?
She earned it. I mean, first women signed to the company, won that title and ran with it. I mean, she was huge. She was one of the biggest stars in professional wrestling there for a while.
She was to the point that, remember, Punk cut that promo where he was making fun of the fact that Britt Baker was coming up on MJF's heels as the pillar.
Oh, yeah.
And so what would you do if you're AEW to get that? Not maybe you can't get the same amount of over war, but what would you do to inject some life in Britt Baker?
Well, first of all, I would define who she is. Are you going to be a face or are you going to be a heel? Because, yes, we know right now she's a face. And we know before she was a heel. However, and as close as she is with Chris Jericho, this very much surprises me. She didn't change anything. That's the first thing I would do. We're going to decide how we're going to push you, and we're going to be doing it different than what we've been doing for 4 years. I think that's the biggest problem. So there's been no change in Britt Baker.
I'll tell you what.
The only change was how she treated her friends.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, in the wrestling business, that's not enough.
I'll tell you what I would do. I would align her with Saraya because have Saraya convince her that, look how this place doesn't give a damn about you.
That would be
you're
really
good.
You're
You're an outcast too.
and use all the reasons that I brought up. You were the first woman signed to this company. You took that women's championship and ran with it and became one of the biggest stars in this company.
And
look what they're doing
You're
with you now.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I fucking love you.
Well,
it's fantastic.
I've booked so many territories in my damn head, it's stupid. I do it a lot.
I think we all do.
And so, yeah, that's what I would do. I'd stick with Saraya and kind of reform the Outcasts. They're kind of on weird ground right now.
They do need a third.
Yeah, that's what I would do, because make her realize, like, yeah, you're being completely overlooked, and have her go for the TBS Championship. And I don't know if she wins or not, but that legitimizes because no offense to Jay Cargill or Chris Statlander, no big name has gone, I want that belt.
It's very true. Well, and then, I mean, that could even bring us to, like, so Britt Baker joins the Outcasts. You know, they're still feuding with Statlander. Sure. They can still feud with Tony Storm. Yeah. And you throw Britt Baker and another person in there. We got 6-man tags when Hayter comes back.
Yeah.
It's like all built in right there.
No, I would align her and turn her heel and have her kind of lead the NWFC team.
Well, I think that, like, let Saraya stay the leader, but, like, because it's almost like Judgment Day. It's defined, but it's not.
Yeah.
Like, you know who's running shit, but it's not said out loud. So I think that's what the Outcasts are. So I think you would keep that dynamic for a while, and maybe take some of the pressure off of Britt Baker.
Sure.
It's not easy to change a character. Sure. Like, it's not. You give her, legends in their own right, especially Saraya. You're in a group together. You fucking basically live together.
Yeah.
You travel together. You get hotels together. You go to family barbecues together on days off. You get so close and can learn so much that way.
And you could do 6 months to a year of that, and then let's assume, and again, that's a strong assumption, but if Saraya is still the champion at that point, you build to that inevitable breakup. You have a huge match next year in London.
And there it is.
The championship. She won it in London. She loses it in London. Doesn't get much
Baker's
better.
right back up at the top.
There you go, Tony.
There it is.
Give us a call.
Oh, I know he listens. He should call us.
Give us a
Somebody
call.
listens.
Because we just booked you right there.
Yes, we did.
Now, granted, we'll help you work backwards week to week. Don't worry about it.
It's fine.
Got you. Because that's what I would do. Because I think
look, I'll even sweeten the pot. You pay me enough to get a house over time and pay off all my debts and make sure my son's taken care of. I'm yours. Yeah. That's like $60,000 a year. That's cheap. Yeah. According to like Tony Khan money. That's nothing.
I'll take Peyton and I and go down to Jacksonville.
And my son can intern?
Or if I'll take Peyton and I and go down to Jacksonville right now.
Right now.
Right? Like
I ain't even kidding. I would drop off that truck on the way.
You give me 2 weeks to get my affairs in orders. I'll be down there, brother.
2 weeks?
Yeah.
Psh, I'll get that shit in order later. Dad, I just got this really great opportunity. I'm gonna need you to do me a really big solid. Yeah. And then, hey, Johnny, I just got this really big opportunity. I'm gonna need you to team up with Dad and do me a really big solid because I'm leaving.
Hell, if their base ever becomes London, I'd go over there. Whatever.
Damn right. I don't want to go to Paris though.
Why?
Bed bugs.
Fair.
Terrible. Apparently, I read the article this morning. I was like, damn, that sucks.
That's tough.
I mean, they're everywhere. Like, I'm not saying, oh, France is exactly. I would know because I'm in pest management. They're fucking everywhere. But when it's like they're freaking out because the Olympics are coming in a couple of years or like next year, and they're panicking because they're everywhere. That's a problem.
They gotta call you.
That's a problem. I'm not doing no. I mean, yeah, sure, I'll do it.
I was gonna say right amount
be
of money.
A lot. Be a lot.
Right amount of money.
Lots of money.
Right amount of money. What are you talking about?
Lots of money for me and lots of spending money as well.
I would put her with the Outcast and let's try something different because you've done 4 years of largely the same thing.
Yep.
And so, because it's. And that is where I think it's a little stale. It's a little Hulk Hogan in '94. Still had his fans, but people were starting to lose interest. And I think we're at that point now, Britt Baker, and let's switch it up a little bit. That's just my take.
I think that's fair.
It is. It's weird that, of course, and this is I criticize WWE this all the time with the Roman Reigns stuff, and they know it. They know I'm right, or they know people like me say I'm right, because that's why Roman Reigns is on TV, because people don't have the attention span they used to.
That's fair.
Like, I just, and so what was 10, 12 years for Hogan becomes 4 years for Britt, because we don't have the attention span of the patients, and we know too much. And that's why.
I think that's a big part of it too. We know too much. Yeah. It's easier to not worry about that shit when you're a kid.
Yeah.
You know, you're watching shit. You watch shit differently as an adult than you do as a kid.
Yeah. And sometimes I have to take myself out of that even and be like, stop overthinking.
Yeah, me too.
Because I do.
Like, I've been trying to take notes more often. I'm really proud that I didn't during Wrestle Dream, because I was just enjoying wrestling.
It's weird. Like, as much as we're trying to do this business for a living, I'm also constantly lately telling myself, be a fan.
Be a fan.
Be a fan. Be a fan. Be a fan.
It's way more important.
Buy
I think that's going to come through in what we say as more than, oh, this happened and this happened and this happened.
Because we have 45 legends doing that. And so we can't, look, I think my opinion matters, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you it matters more than Kevin Nash or Jim Cornette or Booker T or whomever. Like, you got 45 minutes breaking down the show every second. Like, that don't matter. Like, where I think.
I mean, we can break it down. We can talk about it, but I don't think we have to be super analytical about it, like Bully or Mark.
Where I think for a couple years there, we might have been.
I think we were trying too fucking hard.
Yeah, I think we might have been a little too analytical. I think because I've talked to this about with Ryan, and this is getting in the weeds, but this is the whole show this time. I've talked to this about Ryan. I used to feel like, and I used to feel like I couldn't miss a week. I couldn't.
I feel that way now.
And I don't mean podcast. I mean watching. Watch.
Oh, I feel that way too.
I feel like, I don't think that's healthy, and I'll tell you why. Now, I don't think you don't miss 2, 3, 4.
No.
But,
well, I mean, but when you have so much wrestling, it comes down to maybe you're not going to miss a whole week of wrestling, but there's all right, this is going to be in the background, or I'm not watching this, or like Raw.
Yeah.
I watched the beginning. I'm exhausted. And then I had to watch the end today before the show.
But I used to feel like, and Ryan's talked about this. We've talked about this. When he was on the show regularly, one thing he struggled with was he felt like he had to watch everything every week, every hour. And I used to feel that way. I used to be, and I don't know if this is I don't think it's a lack of commitment, because I'm still stupidly committed, as you can tell. The Marks chat proves it. But like, I used to feel like I need to be able to break all this down, boom, 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 and and like
I used to too.
Yeah,
well, I used to want to do articles and all that other stuff, but it's too fucking much. And until I think I forgot. I don't know about you, but I forgot. We decide the content we produce. That's fair.
And so, you know what? If I didn't have time this particular week to watch everything,
it's fine.
Fuck it. If I didn't, and there's still more I would like to do if I had the time, and sometimes I do have the time, but sometimes you don't have the will, because you know how it is. We all find time, but can you find the mental?
I do wish we had more time. Like, I do wish we could hook up somehow with LaGreca and get his ear, or advice, or what the fuck ever. I don't even a tweet. Would help us immensely, because if we had the time, we could have our indie guys on this show. Yeah. We could reach out to bigger indie guys and bigger stars and have them on this show.
And I struggle with that. And again, we're getting way in the weeds, but hey, this is To The Turnbuckle.
Nothing like business meetings in the middle of the podcast. Fucking love it.
And I struggle with that too, because we need more guests to grow the brand.
Yes, we do.
I know that 100%. But also, hate to say this, but I'm going to. That I struggle with that, because I think that's the better content for a while, but it isn't the kind of content I want to produce on a consistent.
I would like to have a mixture of what we usually do, but
because I love breaking down and getting in the weeds.
I would just like to have our our indie people that we've grown close to. They could help us with their fan base. We can help them with people that like us but may not know about them because it's indie and they work in Mansfield.
Because I would, if in a perfect world,
And all over because of New Ohio Wrestling. Like, I would love to have
yeah.
Warhorse in here. I mean, I might have to buy a new couch before they do because that thing doesn't fit me.
Yeah,
so they would be highly uncomfortable, and I would feel like an asshole.
So for me, if I was sitting here really like playing Dream Podcast, because I would like a guest every 6 to 8 weeks, depending on what happens that week, if that makes sense. Because I love this. We're able to sit and break down every angle. That's why
the dream is every day.
Yeah.
Because we could do both. Yeah. I mean, Monday we could do an interview. Tuesday would be Raw.
Yeah.
Wednesday's an interview. Thursday's Dynamite.
Yeah.
Friday's a free-for-all Friday, and we do whatever the fuck we want.
By the way, here's how I think we get
busted open 24/7. Yeah. Hello, Dave. Please come on, man. Help a brother out.
Here's what you.
I'm a lot like you. I got into media late.
Here's what you do.
But I have a child to provide for. I mean, I know you had. I heard your story. It's rough, and I'm sorry. But help another brother out.
Help another brother.
You're really cool.
Here's what you do. You get on the as Brother A says, the Twitter machine.
The Twitter machine.
And you see whose DMs are what.
You have to subscribe to get into Dave's DMs, I think. Or is that on LinkedIn? I don't remember.
Well, if you have to subscribe, it might be worth that one.
It might.
1 month.
It might.
Might be worth that 1 month. Just saying, bud.
I always just feel like I'm gonna be quite candid.
That's.
It makes me feel like a mooch to ask that motherfucker for help. You have how many times I have gone on Chris Jericho, all of them, but I feel like maybe we're not big enough to ask that question, or I feel like we need to do more. I don't. It's something in here because I know there is absolutely no fucking reason why I can't just ask.
Well,
but something goes, no, you don't deserve that yet. It makes me feel like I don't want to beg for help. I would like assistance, but to me, it's almost like a beg.
I think that might be a little bit of here's what I would do if I was you. Because remember, I have booked a fair amount.
Well, and
we've
have
gotten away from it in the last 2 years.
Me and MJF are very similar in the ADD aspect. Yeah. When he says that, that's me.
Yeah.
It's my mind is all over the place. There's a few things that I can hyper focus on, and rejection fucking murders me. That's me and MJF. That might be the only thing ever, other than loving pro wrestling, that me and Maxwell Jacob Friedman have in common. But he's even more of my guy now because he came out and said that, and I'm like, bro, me too. And I mean, and because ADD hits everybody different, so it's rare to even see someone on TV that disease and mental struggle of attention deficit disorder is the same as you. Yeah. I know I joked on the show, it's finally great to have some representation, but I'm kind of not wrong. Attention deficit disorder has been pushed down the mental health thing forever. It's big now because people are paying attention because so many people have it because of everything we have. But when you break it down, I've had this my entire life, and when someone goes on TV and says, rejection just kills me, I'm like, dude, me too. You know how long it took me to learn that was the ADD? Yeah. A long time.
Here's what I would do if I was you. Find a way to contact LaGreca, and don't ask him directly for help at the moment. What we need to do is we need to, hey, can you, and maybe it's just you, somebody, one of us, probably you because you're the more business-minded person of this group.
Fair.
You need to be like, hey, can we do a Zoom? I just want to chat and get tips. And that's where you build that.
That's a good idea.
And I that's where I would email him something, whatever, and be like, hey, if you have time, can we do a Zoom sometime and you do the networking and sit down with him? Because one thing I've done in trying to do the more traditional aspect of broadcasting is I've reached out to, and none of these are super private conversations, but I've reached out to people like Clay Hall and I haven't gotten anything back from him, but I I have had multiple conversations and Zooms with Station Aquin, who does the ABC6 News now. Most of these people, because most people ain't jerks, I think that, and this goes for anybody listening to this period, if there's something you want to do or something you want to network with, the best thing I think to do, and I'm not an expert by any means, is email them and go, hey, and be like, I want to kind of interview you, but not really. It's a conversation, and get some tips.
That's what hurt, I think, because I was all about that for a minute.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name this person. I don't have any issue with this person. I went to school with this person. Mm-hmm. Great person.
Sure.
Like I said, person. I'm not, because probably people will be able to figure it out pretty quickly.
Sure.
When we were in school just graduating, I had everything all together. I sent her stuff. I applied to the company that she works for. I asked for a good word, what have you, told her my experience, and I never heard anything.
Yep.
I was, in my mind, we were a year apart in school. You know who I am. At least say I'm not comfortable.
Yeah.
I didn't even get, I haven't talked to you in 15, 20 years. I'm not comfortable putting my name out for you.
Yeah.
I don't really know you anymore. That's what I would have understood.
Sure.
And it's okay that I didn't get a response back. That's fine. ADD says that's not okay. And I think that's where I keep regressing to that, because I don't have it's not easy for MJF either. Yeah. It's not ever easy for anybody, because every medication for this mental health disease changes who the fuck you are.
There comes a point, and as somebody that battles anxiety desperately, you have to ignore that voice in your head.
It's hard, man.
I know, because
and we're really diving in here because we've
To The Turnbuckle on the Mental Health Hour.
We've talked about things that you deal with. We've talked about things that Travis has dealt with, but I think that's where the age gap shows through. I'm not as comfortable talking about that stuff. And I am, if we're just chit-chatting or whatever, sure. But,
here on the
I don't want to be, I've never been, big alpha grr, but some of that old school male mentality is still in there. Well, and so I think it's harder for me to open up like that on the podcast.
And I'm a believer that people are, I believe that God or the universe or whatever your personal persuasion is, puts people in your lives for a reason, and maybe part of the reason that we're in each other's lives is to help with that. Could be. I'm a believer in that. I think everything's got a purpose. No, I don't think that if you have to pee, that's the purpose I'm talking about. I met this person. I made this connection. I think there's something to that. Maybe I'm wrong.
It's the universe, it's the creator, whatever you want to believe, because I would find it hard to believe that this wasn't somehow, because there's no such thing as a coincidence.
Yeah,
what are the odds of me and Styles meeting, for one, for two, having a wrestling conversation
right as
Adam Dell's in the room to put us together.
Yeah, because he brought you guys in and went.
And the rest is history.
Yeah, like wrestling. And
just random as shit.
I remember I was like, who's your guy's GOAT? And I was like, I think Styles, because he's so outgoing, and boom, he was like instantly like Randy Orton, because he's a big Randy Orton guy. And I was like, well, I was thinking more to Undertaker, and you very subtly with your your high pitched voice when you're being a little sarcastic, well, Chris Jericho, and at that point it just kind of clicked, and so there's a purpose in all this. I don't know that I hope this doesn't upset him if he ever hears this. I think we're done with Styles as an everyday portion of the show, but I don't even know if we're done with Styles. Maybe someday we link back up.
I'd love to have that man on the show at least once.
Yeah, I'd love to see how he's doing and check in. And so, but yeah, I think that my advice to you, because I've reached out a lot to different broadcasters, and most have been wonderful. There's two people that it didn't go great,
and every business it's like that.
Two people it didn't go great, and maybe it was me.
There's going to be,
because I am Mr. Sensitive. That's our new thing, and that's true. That's one of the reasons that I relate so well to Mauro Ronaldo, who that's one of the because by all accounts he's an extremely by all accounts, due to his various disorders, he's an extremely sensitive person, and you have to really handled him differently. That's why he couldn't deal with Vince in his ear.
I can
Because
understand.
Vince is so, damn it,
That
you
would drive me crazy.
bastard. He Triple H was their middleman in terms of every negotiation because Triple H is a little gentler than Vince said, Kennedy McMahon, damn it. And that's one of the reasons I'm such a big fan of him is because I get that. Like, because I understand, like, I know I shouldn't be this sensitive, and I'm always working on that, but at the same time, you kind of are who you are.
That's fair.
Like, that doesn't mean that you can't change or get better, but some things that are ingrained in you, it's going to be a daily battle.
You know, the good part about that, for both of us, we're aware of the battle.
Yeah, and so,
Like I'm aware
Yeah.
when I feel a rejection and it, like,
Yeah.
crushes me, I'm aware that that's the ADD talking. I still may be a little crushed,
Yeah.
and it still might cut my day, but knowing that that's the reason why
Yeah.
changes everything.
And it's made my relationship with you and Travis better because I've been very open about the fact of, like, because we've had moments where we get a little too heated on this show or have to get too heated in a chat, and I'll cool off for a minute, and one of us will reach out and be like, "Hey, my bad," because I'm quick to go, "You mother," blah, blah, blah. Like my Jim Cornette comes out, and so my advice to you would be, number one, you gotta just ignore that voice in your head sometimes. And hey, if it did nothing ventured, nothing gained, and if it doesn't work, you don't sit there and go, "What if?" Because that's my biggest thing. Because even if Dave Dobrik says, "Fuck off,"
Fuck you.
like,
Who the fuck are you?
At least you, and I don't think he would do that.
I don't think so either because he's my I don't know if I've said it on this podcast. I know I told you guys, like, my original inspiration for podcasting was Chris.
Mhm.
It's become Dave LaGreca because of what he was able to do with Busted Open. That's like fucking amazing.
So my advice would be find a way to get in contact with him. Find multiple ways to get in contact with him in case one way don't work. And just be like, because the way I phrase it too, like I've talked to Brian Giedenslau, works with the Reds and the Blue Jackets. I've talked to John Sadak, who's the Reds lead announcer these days. I've talked to Tom Brenneman, the Reds former lead announcer. The way I phrase it is, hey, I'd like to interview you, and then I kind of go, but it's not really an interview, it's more of a conversation. I'm trying to break into broadcasting, yada, yada, yada. Could we have a phone call, a Zoom, and I just want some tips on what you think I could do to better break into the door. And that creates that relationship, and in, like, Brian Giedensau's case, who's the pregame host for the Reds and the Blue Jackets, depending on the season, we still text fairly regularly.
That's cool.
We still say, because we still have always said we're going to get lunch. We haven't been able to make it happen because he's down in Cincinnati and a ton during this time of year. I think it'll happen soon because he just actually met my boss, Kevin Rao, who you've heard about. He actually met my boss the other day at a media session for the Blue Jackets. Point being is, for every person that I've had a few conversations with, and that's kind of been it, there's that one guy like Giedenslau who actually seems to, like, I'm not saying there's other people who didn't care, but I'm saying maybe they're too busy, they have other priorities, and so we still, every couple of months, I will reach out, or he'll reach out and go, hey, I often will go, hey, nice to see you on the TV side tonight, because he'll be doing the Blue Jackets or the Reds, and so sometimes he alternates. I'm like, nice to see you on the good guys, because he knows I'm not a hockey guy at all. I don't watch you during hockey season a bit. And so we have fun with that. My point being is you never know in terms of what it'll lead. So, yeah, because I always tell people, because you don't know what to say, because it just sounds weird to go, can I have a conversation with you?
I know, right? That's the problem, too.
So that's where I go, I want to have an interview, and then I kind of go, but it's not, a traditional interview. It's more of I want to get some tips on how in our case it would be, how do you think we can take To The Turnbuckle to the next level to try and just scratch the surface of what you're doing? That's what I would do with Dave.
And I think, he inspired me to, like, make this bigger and try to make this an everyday thing down the road. But also, when I'm sure he said it before. I haven't been listening to Busted Open the whole time it's been on.
Sure.
He didn't get into broadcasting until he lost his wife, lost his house, and was living back with his parents. Like, he is such an inspiration in this business.
Yeah.
And if people don't see that, you're not paying attention.
It's what he's done and what he's built, not by himself, but certainly has done the heavy lifting.
Yes.
Is incredible. And plus, he's a great example, and there are many of them, but he's a great example of, like, it isn't too late. I know that's cliche as hell, but it's so true.
Mm-hmm.
people be like, well, and that you don't know what your future is, bro. If you don't keep the faith, in my opinion, because your brain is an organism and like it hears everything and feels everything you do. And if you're sitting there saying, I'm never going to make it, you're making it more likely you don't.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
You're not making it impossible. I'm not that crazy. But I'm a believer in wholeheartedly. If you say, I'm going to get there or I think I can get there, I do think that ups your odds. I don't care if it's 5%. I believe when you speak things into existence, I believe because religion and science meet on this, the law of attraction.
Yeah, that's fair.
And the Bible says, that essentially to watch your tongue, watch what you say, and speak life over yourself. So those two things that they don't meet on a whole lot of things, but they meet there. So I got something for everybody. If you're a science guy, boom, I got you. And if you're a religious guy, boom, I got you.
Why can't we be both?
I think you could. But I also think you, and this is really getting into the weeds, but there's also a point where
there's a lot of contradictions with both.
Where it becomes really hard to believe that science could pull this off.
And on the same token, it's really hard to believe that this is all planned.
But that's where it takes incredible faith.
I think that's why, I wish science and religion was closer, and we're willing to have these conversations because I've said it 100 times.
We do everything
100 times on this. It's not the idea of it's the book that man wrote and edited to their gain that bothers me. It's not the idea of an all-powerful being. It's the idea that even if these are the words of an all-powerful being, they have been changed, molested, and put into a way to help the better off and the people making the rules, as opposed to everyone.
And I think that's a fair conversation to have. It's not
the conversation we should really be having on To The Turnbuckle.
Not one to have right now, so I'm not going to get too in the weeds on it. But my point is if you're sitting there saying, because someday you and I will have that conversation, by the way, and I look forward.
I look forward to it too.
Probably off the air, or maybe like a special
To
the Turnbuckle Religious Text Edition. But
our beliefs and why.
Yeah, but you should just again send out those feelers. To get in touch with Tom Brenneman. I subscribed to LinkedIn for a month because it was like a free trial, and I'm like, I'm going to send as many feelers as I can,
that's a good idea.
and just try it. And the worst they can do is, no. And obviously I don't react well to rejection either, but I'm not going to pretend to also be in your shoes. But it's a case of Kevin told me, you keep going until they tell you to stop showing up.
That's fair.
And I say that because, and I don't want to get into personal matters here, because it ain't my story to share. But there was a disagreement between Kevin and one of the higher up of the Columbus Clippers a few months ago, and I was scheduled to do a game 2 days later. I'm like, because I witnessed the disagreement. It wasn't nasty or anything, but it was a disagreement that was a little slightly heated. Nothing nasty, no swears, but definitely a disagreement that was fairly strong. And I was like, well, do I go to this game I'm supposed to go to Thursday? Because I watched this disagreement, and it was, again, nothing nasty. They shook hands at the end of it and behaved like gentlemen. So I don't want to overstate it, but it was still awkward, right?
Fair.
And so I went, do I come back in 2 days by myself with just me and Peyton? He goes, you always keep coming until they tell you not to show up. He said, if they don't want you here, they'll tell you to leave. And then
That's
you
fair.
leave. And so I've now applied that to everything. Keep swinging until, all right, once you tell me, leave me alone. Cool. All right, got you. But until then, I'm going to keep squeaking. Niece at the media school, you didn't have her because she was dead. But she said, squeaky wheel gets the grease. You got to keep squeaking. And I think that's part of why I think that's why people get places. Because, again, it becomes it's no longer about skill for us. There are things I need to be better on. There's things you need to be better on.
Oh, yeah, there's always something to learn.
But in terms of getting that break, I don't want to hear it's about skill.
No.
Because I'm so, and this is going to sound presumptuous, and I apologize if people are like, well, you're wrong. You give me a month to try it out and get the kinks out. Give me a month on any wrestling program on this, except maybe WWE, just because they're so anal. Any other program to go commentate a wrestling show, give me a month, and I guarantee you I can do it. Give me a month to fail. Give me 4 weeks to screw up. And I guarantee you, besides WWE, because they're such an anal system.
Yeah, they know. I don't know if I could handle that shit.
But give me a month, and I know I could do it. That might sound super duper presumptuous and super narcissistic, but I've done it enough now where I know that I can do it.
You have inspired me.
Well, that's
I'm going to subscribe to Lincoln. I'm going to reach out to La Greca, and I'm also going to pitch the Bruce Cruz podcast to Tony Khan, because why can't wrestling be like other sports and have a radio broadcast?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Why not? You should keep swinging until there's nothing to swing for. Reach out to, my conversation with Conrad was fine, but granted it was during 2020. A lot of things were going on. And
yeah, that's true.
Reach out to Conrad. Try him again. And I know that we've said some things on the show that haven't been the most flattering to Conrad, and I would say that directly to his face in a very polite manner. And
the Ric Flair match stuff?
I was never...
You were never bad.
And I was never... I just felt like he was enabling some issues, and I still feel that way at certain points on certain things he does. Reach out to him. Just if there's any wrestling personality you think can help us, reach out. That's all you can do.
Fair enough.
That's because most of them will say no, but someone's going to say yes. Babe Ruth once said, "For every strike brings me closer to the next home run."
That's fair.
That's how it works.
That is how it works.
It's a numbers game. How many women have you been turned down by? I'm sure several. And I'm not saying you.
I don't know.
But I'm saying women.
A lot.
Because I'm sorry, ladies. It's not easy to be a woman in the society.
It's not.
When it comes to the dating game, you have the advantage.
Yeah.
When it comes to the dating game, I'm talking strictly that. You have the advantage because everything
else, there's a long way to go.
In terms of that, you run the world. And so I personally, you just kind of go, God, that sucks. We'll keep on swinging. Come up with a format, because I'm trying to figure this out for Racing Refresh on the NASCAR side, because next year I want guests, I want drivers, so I'm trying to come up with a format to email these people and go, can I have a few minutes of your time to record an interview, yada yada yada. So I'm doing these things myself, and so if you can do it for the wrestling side, not to say I'm not willing to, but I'm saying with you having the much bigger. Because here's the thing. If I email Le Greca and we hit it off, which would be wonderful, I can't tell him your plan.
That's true.
Because I only know snippets of your plan. I don't know step by step by step by step by step. And so a lot of those questions would be, I'll turn into Triple H on the Stone Cold podcast. That's a Jason question. Remember how Triple H was? That's a Vince question. That's a Vince question. And so that's where it's like, and again, I've struggled with debating on, we need more guests, but also I like this format. And so this is such a weird episode.
Isn't it?
But it's fun.
The hell?
And so, but yeah, you should reach out to anybody you think can, reach out to Dreamer on social media. I just feel, he seems to be all about, because, the old Bob Backlund story he's told 100 times about, him, he autographed for him as a child, and that made him never turn down an autograph. And I know it's a different thing than an autograph for us grown men, but I'm just talking about he's a guy that is very much a pay-it-forward fella. And so that's where you just keep swinging. And so I would reach out to Conrad. I'd reach out to Conrad's co-host. I can get you. It's like Paul Brumwell.
I haven't listened to his shows in a long time.
Well, luckily, you know a guy that can give you the fast track.
Sweet.
On, that.
It's just been a minute. Yeah. Like, I've listened to, like, Grill and JR, last week, but that's kind of a long time in the podcast world.
And so, yeah, it's just a matter of keep knocking on them doors, man. Send an email, ask for Zoom, and, I'll put you in touch. I know one guy that could help us a little bit, at least for the more wrestling business side, is I talked to the OVW commentator like last year, and he was willing for us to come out to a show in Louisville because there's tapings, And I'm like, yeah, I'd love to do that, but I needed to converse with you guys. I think that would be much better if you did that interview or that,
that's fair.
conversation, because you're a better, here's what I know, boom, boom, boom guy than I am.
Fair.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
I know it's a weird way of putting that.
Well, so that comes from, which is why I do think that restaurants and management jobs when you're young are the best decision for you.
Yeah.
You have transferable skills. When you're a manager, you're also in charge of training people. You have to learn to get that stuff out. You have to learn how to deal with different types of people. You have to learn how to train people. So that's why I'm good at that, because you don't have a choice in that situation.
Right, and so as I've gotten a little bit more long in the tooth on this thing, on To The Turnbuckle and Snap, Manor, Bruiser Nation, I have quickly figured out that I might be a better off the cuff networker than you are, but I'm not a better networker in the sense of let's sit down and hash this out.
Fair.
I'm better. I think I'm a little better than you at the 5-minute conversation in person.
Oh yeah, for sure, sure.
But I think you're better at let's have this interview, let's have this Zoom, and really get in the weeds on here's what I want to do with my life. Can you help me? Give me any tips? Because To The Turnbuckle and Snap, Manor, and Bruiser Nation is so tied to you guys. Doing it without you guys, other than a quick guest interview for the podcast, it's hard to do because it's like, that's a Jason question. That's a Jason question. That's a Jason question.
I think that's everything that we do.
Can we pull off
a Jason question?
Can we? Because I can. I subscribe to the Adam Dell theory. Remember, he once told us, if you get an opportunity, you say you can't, even if you can't, and you spend the weekend learning all you
how to
do
do
it.
it.
You spend the weekend learning. So when I told, I forget his name. When I told the OVW commentator, yeah, we can totally come out to Louisville. I had no idea if we could or not.
But you just, yeah.
I said I could, because that's what you do.
Fair.
And so, but with you, because oftentimes for these you are going to be my transportation, you can literally determine, can we do this?
That's fair.
Where I can only say we can or we can't, and I don't know the truth either way, to be honest with you, because no one knows our capabilities better
Oh my God,
than you.
If you committed to something, I'd probably figure it out.
Yeah, but I'd be like, hey, buddy, I got to send you a pickle.
I'm like, oh, God damn it, we'll figure it out.
So I will. So what I'll do is, and again, this was a weird time to have this conversation,
wasn't it? I love our business meetings during the middle of the show. It's fun.
But what I'll do, because we got to do some fast lane predictions.
Yeah, we kind of do. We didn't even talk about Wrestle Dream. That's sad.
Well, it was all about Edge. What we'll touch on. But what I'll do is here's what I'll do. I will do what I did for me, and I'll do it for you. And what I mean by that, though, is I will toss you names on how and see if I can help you contact them in terms of, here's what I found. Try this.
Cool.
And it doesn't mean you have to do it next week. I'm just saying they are names you can keep in your back pocket for, even if it's our holiday break or whatever. At some point, you can reach out to them and at least send an email. And so that's what I'll start doing, is trying to, hey, I saw this, because again, I'm starting to wonder, other than an interview, if I'm the right guy to do that, the rest of that. Like I said, other than a true interview, I'm good at that.
You're really good at that.
I can do, but as far as helping us move forward, I don't know if I'm that guy, because I'm not fully aware of our capabilities like you are, and what it takes on your end, because again, I'm not putting down what I do, but I'm just a commentator. I'm very lucky and fortunate to work for you, work with you, whatever you want to call it, because with a man this limited of skills, other than the fact I can talk the legs off the table, I can't do anything else. I'm not a good editor. I could probably get better, but that requires time and teaching that you don't have.
That's fair.
At this point, now I believe there will come a day.
There will come a day where I'll teach you how to do highlights, at least.
I really think there'll come a day where because of, and you know how, and I'm not putting down the Great Ohio Media School that gave us the opportunity and the platform to do, sort of like AEW in a weird, smaller way.
Yeah,
they gave us the
platform,
foot in the door. But because of how quick that is, and I'm not a quick learner, I'm a quick talker, but I'm not a quick learner. It's very much, hey, Cody, hey, Rondell, hey, so-and-so. I'm stuck here. Can you help me out? Because we're moving to the next block. And Adam Dell didn't have the time to, I again, this is where I'm a little different. Loganity's real most of the time.
Most of the time.
I need my handheld. I don't have the quick pace of the media school for things like editing that take a more tedious amount of time. Because again, I can tell you how a light looks, and I can tell you how to pretty much set up a podcast. And I'm even learning now how to set up these with Kevin.
Nice.
We're gonna go run a lot of testing. He's gonna show me some things tomorrow. We're getting lunch actually.
Roadcasters are fun.
And so like I'm getting better, but I've told Kevin this with the opportunity he's given me, is I need my handheld. I need to be able to fail. I can't have a pressurized situation at first, because that's why it's like, well, you're like, and no one else edits, and that's a pisser.
It sucks.
It's a pisser. But also, I don't think right now you want me editing.
But you know what?
'Cause I'm not
at
good
the
at
same time, yes, last year I was the only one editing.
Yeah.
It got us this Mini Pro.
Yeah. Now we're editing.
Now I just edit highlights and I don't care.
Yeah. So yeah, you're like, well, those bastards ain't gonna pick up the flag.
I'm gonna be doing this. I'm gonna do it this way. This is stupid.
But so yeah, it's because I never want you to say, well, Logan is unwilling to do it. No, Logan is not unwilling to do it.
I know you're all willing to do stuff. It's just hard, man. I know. Trust me. I know.
But for me, because again, I march to the beat of a different drum and how I learn and do things. Having cerebral palsy, you're going to be that way. I need, the reason I went to Columbus State for several years was because I can't go to a big campus and I can't be a number. I need hands-on right here. Oops, fuck that up. Because I can't. It took me 2 times to pass my math class, and that second time was because I went extra hours to the professor.
It's all right. I didn't pass the math standardized test until I was a junior.
So
it took me 3 times to pass that thing.
Fun fact. I never passed the standardized test.
Really?
In math. I passed every single one. You needed a 400. My last time I took it, I got a 399. I had an IEP. I worked with the system a little bit and skirted around it.
Nice.
You needed a 400 to pass. I got a 399.
That's close enough.
And I was 1 point off because I'm not good at math. I'm the worst math person on God's earth.
Fair. Me and math aren't really
I'm
friends either.
And so for me, I need you to be able to. I need like a boot camp, if that makes sense. I need a war room, if that makes sense, where I need a day or two, probably multiple days, like once a week or once every 10 days, if you're ever on vacation, where, all right, let me show you this, and then we go over that again, and then, all right, let's add some more. Because again, the quick pace of the media school, not putting down the media school.
Like the timeline in Premiere Pro, we're going to stack here, and then we're going to stack here some more skills, and then we're going to stack some more skills on top of that over time.
And we'll have, 2 hours one day, and you'll learn all that, and then tomorrow you're doing it on your own, and then and it's like a 3-day, 4-day week. I can't remember. Was it 3 or 4? It was like 3 or
3.
It
was 3.
And so, by then the weekend comes, and then you forget a little bit, and then you're on to the next thing, and I'm so many steps behind. And so it's like, hey, and I'm not putting down anybody. That's on me. And luckily I was with a good support cast in terms of my class. Guys like Cody Larson, who you've met,
Hello, Cody.
Was willing to be like, let me just help you out here because we're just trying to survive, especially core. But unfortunately, core is also where, and I know we have our issues with core, but I don't think this podcast is the place to be airing them out. But core is where you learn that base. Yep. And I can make an argument about how they do it, but nonetheless, it's how you learn. And because it's such a quick, fast system, for me, the way I learn, and I struggle with this in school for math and things like that, it's like I need more time. I need more time than just that week, 2 weeks, whatever it may be. I need to be able to fail. I need you to show me and show me again and show me again and show me again, because it just takes me a long time to get some things. Some things I learn very quickly, but some things, it's really, I can't tie my shoes. Never learned how. Can't do it. That's why I got them slip-ons, brother.
That's fair enough.
And I tried to learn, and it didn't pan out. Obviously, due to my motor function.
Yeah.
But there's some So my point being is not to embarrass myself. Oh my God, he can't tie his shoes. You can right on off. But it's that. So for me, there's some things where, and I hope that you guys go, man, that was really impressive on his part. He's really smart in that way. I hope I've had that moment with you.
I've had a couple.
Where you go, wow. But there's also going to be moments where, motherfucker, are you stupid? And I would say I'm not. But you're going to be like, whoa, how do you not get that? Because that's just the way my brain is.
I probably won't. You'd be surprised what I've seen as a manager.
But I'm sure publicly you won't go.
I had to.
But in your head, you'll go.
I don't know. I've had to teach teenagers how to sweep that aren't my child.
That's fair. That's fair. And they probably don't even have a disability.
No. They're Dublin kids.
So
Fantastic kids. They really were the ones that I dealt with.
So I never want it to be said in this group of 4 of us that are Snapman Productions, oh, Logan's not willing to learn. Logan is more than willing to learn, but Logan also knows what it's going to take to learn.
Lots of time.
Yeah, lots of time. Because, it's probably a little easier than I think in my head, but again, it requires that hand-holding that right now you don't have the time for. Right now I may not have the time for. I'm not sure Travis has the patience for right now. And so he's really tense. And so, I never want it to be said in this group, Logan's not willing to learn. Logan is absolutely willing to learn, but also you have to accommodate him because I know what works for me.
Fair.
And if you show me via a Zoom far away, can I obtain it for 10 minutes? Yeah. But then tomorrow comes and I'll be like, I forgot that one step. What did I do there? And you can say, well, just text me. That's not the same.
No.
That's not that hands-on. Hold my hand. And again, I know that sounds so childish, but some people
and give you a checklist.
But just that way, and it's like, man, that's tough. So someday,
I think even when we do have time to sit down and do that stuff, you should always have a checklist with you.
Absolutely.
After that,
100%.
until it's
until it becomes
muscle
second nature.
Yeah, until it's. I mean, I still make lists for the shows, even though you guys don't see them.
Sure. No, I absolutely. Because again, I promise you, hand to the.
I just
good
did
Lord,
inventory on Sunday.
Hand to the good Lord. Don't ever say Logan's not willing to learn. No,
Me being all professional and doing inventory.
Logan's willing to learn, but Logan has to learn in his unique fashion.
Everybody learns differently.
When it comes to editing. Now, when it comes to hosting a podcast or being a wrestling announcer, I don't think I'm bad at that by any means. I don't think I'm great at it yet, but I'm going to be.
One day.
And so that it is. It's just because I feel bad for all you do. I do. I go, man, that. And I'm ripping off his New Japan.
How? Well, I mean, I rip off your Peacock, so it's fine.
That's fine.
How can I put this? I absolutely love you guys.
Sure.
I would. I mean, sure. Would I like a little bit more support?
Absolutely.
But to not go too far in the weeds.
Sure. Well, we're there now.
That's fair. That's been my life for a really long fucking time.
Half past a freckle, boys.
I'm not trying to be like I'm some saint and awesome fucking person. However, you have noticed, I am sure, that more often than not, I put myself on the back burner.
Sure.
A fucking lot. Yeah. It's been that way my entire life. Came to friends, I was secondary.
Sure.
Came to marriage, I was secondary.
You're gonna give
Comes
me a ride
to fatherhood, I am completely secondary, no question in my mind. But I don't think I'm a people pleaser, but I'm definitely my shit don't matter. Let's get you taken care of kind of a guy. When I helped Adam move, he tried to make me leave 3 times. We'll just do the rest tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm here now.
Let's do
What
it.
do you mean? You've been doing this and? It's here now. If I'm here, let's do it now. It's easier for you tomorrow.
But at the same time, and I'm sure the danger of that is that's got to create some bad mental health moments for you.
It has in the past.
I would just assume so. Again, what a weird episode.
Well, because it's sometimes, and like I said, it has in my younger days. I've learned to realize it and be like, no, you're just being you. It's fine. It's not a big deal. And I do have a lot more support now,
Sure.
like from friends and everybody else. But it's like it's just one of those things where it's like, and maybe part of it is being raised in the faith.
Sure.
I wasn't important. Not saying that my
Yeah.
church didn't make me feel important, but there's bigger things than my bullshit.
Yeah, but
Like when I was religious, I couldn't pray for me.
right.
There's death,
Yeah, I don't.
starvation.
I don't.
How in the fuck can I ask him for help?
I don't.
Like that's not a thing for me.
It's unless it's a very serious, like super duper matter that I really want. And those are very rare circumstances, and you know the kind they are. I don't pray for myself either because I'm like, well, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. Man, it's about everybody else. It's to some extent that's great, and to some extent that's bad because like, yes, you should be selfless. You should be here to help others because damn it, if you can make someone's day, why wouldn't you? But at the same time, what about me? What about my day? And especially us as, for lack of a better term, for us as performers, I can have a ball on this podcast, and then 2 hours later at my house, I feel lonely.
Yeah.
I feel kind of sad, feel kind of down. And as a performer, you kind of go through that. And that's what we kind of are. Like, you know, the Loganity thing. You and I have performed on this show many a time.
Many a times.
And so as a performer, you have that. I've entertained. I feel like I've done my job. I feel like I've made your day better or Travis's day better or Joe Blow's day better. But then at 11 o'clock at night, especially on nights Peyton isn't there or busy doing other things, you feel a certain emptiness, if that makes sense, a certain loneliness.
Makes sense.
And that's why I always understand. I think that's also why I'm so forgiving to the wrestler or the band that hangs on too long because they can't let go of the cheers of the name. Because I get it, man. I get what it's like coming back to your room and being like, now what?
I had that feeling when we were doing the different house thing.
Yeah.
When I was in Reynoldsburg and Jamie was here.
Yeah.
It was fucking awful when Jason wasn't home.
Right.
For a week, I'm by myself. There's nothing to fucking do.
What do you do? Yeah.
It's the middle of the pandemic. There's nothing to
Yeah.
do. That shit killed me.
Yeah, it is. It's just one of those things. And you do, as guys, and you probably find yourself, like, you know in the back of your heart that you have me and Travis and guys like us and Ryan in your back pocket. But also, for me, I go, well, they don't want to hear me talk just to talk about something because I'm lonely, just because because sometimes you're like, yeah, I could talk to them, and I don't mean even about anything, but just talking about nothing, I feel like you start to feel like you're wasting someone's time, if that makes sense.
Sometimes. It depends how the conversation goes, I would have to say. Because there are times where you're like, fuck, I just wasted their time.
Yeah.
And there's times where they don't want to hear it, but they're going to listen. I mean, and it's been a gradual thing for me to get over my thing because, when I was younger, I was the ventee. I told all my friends, don't get your fucking ass in trouble. Don't get in a fucking fight. Fucking leave. Come fucking vent to me. We'll smoke some weed. It'll be fine.
It'll be good.
Don't get yourself fucking arrested. When I cut that out, mentally I was much better. Mm-hmm. But I'm still very much, and I don't know if I'll ever not be this way, is people come first.
Sure.
I take care of myself. I don't say I don't neglect myself, but in a lot of situations, it's not about me. Like, even when we go broadcast, I've had girls be like even family, I've been like, you don't always get paid. Why are you doing it? Because I'm not doing it for me. I mean, I'm doing it for me, but like,
it's the love of the game.
I love pro wrestling. If I can get even one dude noticed by a bigger company, I've done my fucking job.
Yeah, then you've
and maybe he can return the favor,
and
maybe not. That's fine.
It becomes a legacy thing. Yeah, I get you.
It's like that's our job as broadcasters. That's why I gave, the Rock segment the treatment I did when you see a guy run across Gorilla.
Yeah.
When it's obviously a dude that either The Rock wanted or WWE wanted, and he could have easily said, well, we're going to do this front shot first. Once we switch to this other camera, then you can fucking run so people don't see you, because we have a curtain. I shouldn't be seen by people. I'm production.
Well, what do you say, because I've enjoyed this mental health chat, but what do you say we run the ropes and we make Fastlane predictions?
Perfect.
All right, because we got to do running the ropes.
Yeah, we do. I love running the ropes.
By God, let's run
especially because I made those damn...
let's run the ropes, and then we'll do Fastlane predictions. We'll get out of here. So this has been Rated R Era with a side of mental health.
Yes, very much so, and I'm all here for it. It's fine.
And again, hopefully, if people ever hear that and go, man, I'm glad someone else struggles with the same thing we do.
Me too. I hope I can.
Yeah.
We just did for somebody what MJF did for me.
That's because I think we all are easy to forget. I know it's cliche, but it's easy to forget we're all human. But let's run those ropes. Wonderful graphic.
I know, I love that thing.
Let's run the ropes, and then we'll do Fastlane. You'll continue a selfless act and drive me home.
I do what I can.
For some reason.
Oh, yeah.
All right. A longtime AEW talent told Fightful Select, the talent was not named, Adam Copeland was talking internally about helping out behind the scenes at AEW. He spoke about filling the gap that CM Punk left behind, and that he'll be helpful and not cause any issues internally. Just like you were alluding to, I think the idea is for him to be CM Punk light in terms of the hands-on way that CM Punk was good about things, but the bad way of very take my advice or else.
Yes.
Because I don't know, he thought he was AEW's Terry Funk or something.
Just the way Edge said it, he's like, if you want my advice, cool. Which means if you don't, he's not going to take it personally. Which it's the same thing. Right. Why wouldn't you want CM Punk's advice? Why wouldn't you want Edge's? Right. I come back to that, but that's your prerogative to make that decision. No, I'm just glad that Edge isn't going to take it personally.
I think this is, again, as a fan,
I think it's dumber not to listen to Edge.
Yeah,
than to CM Punk.
Absolutely.
Because Edge even though he was out of it, but he's done more than CM Punk, and he's seen the complete transition where he was kind of there. Like, Legend Steel, broken neck, couldn't wrestle. But Beth Phoenix was involved. He was involved in the transition of how the locker room is now. Yeah, CM Punk was not.
Absolutely, 100%. I have asked since the CM Punk's departure a month ago. I need something else to kind of sink my teeth into on the AEW Ring of Honor side. I just got it.
Yes, you did.
I'm so happy about this decision and this call. I'm really excited to see. It opens up so many possibilities, and we'll talk more and more about that as we continue to do shows. All right, next, Fightful also says their NXT sources weren't happy about Mustafa Ali's release. They had plans for Ali on the brand running through next year's WrestleMania season. Ali feels like he was an out of nowhere, and this feels, those releases to me, and we knew they were coming, but it felt like in a weird way, hey, Vince is back. You know what I mean? Because releases didn't happen until.
Let's be honest. It felt like, Hunter, I told you these people are gone. They're gone. Because a lot of the people that got released were people that Triple H rehired.
Yeah, like. Hey,
not all of them, but there were a lot of them.
But I cut them loose for a reason. Yes. Trust me on that.
I'm cutting them loose again. And we can split hairs. I don't think Mustafa Ali's a good idea, but
I don't either.
I think
I'm so excited about and this.
And I you know what? I could see Sean having plans for him. Yeah. He's Sean's style of wrestler. He's a Sean. Like when he gets the opportunity, he can cut the hell of a fucking promo. Because just Retribution ruined him. Yeah. And everybody else in that faction.
Because keep in mind, and I know that Vince is under there's a lot of different what ifs flying about Vince and his stocks and the whole nine. Until you hear otherwise, he is overseeing the WWE. Until you hear otherwise, that's just the fact.
Right, like I said, I think Triple H, he lets Triple H make a lot of the decisions, but he's gonna look over everything like honestly any boss should and make changes if necessary.
And again, I know there's a lot of what ifs about. Well, he might be planning for his exit of the company with the selling of the stocks, or it could be a life raft in case he's. I think personally, and I know this is getting in the weeds again. Here's by the way, because you saw that rumor last week about he might be planning his exit, right? Mm-hmm. Here's what I think that is, and so far, folks, don't mean to brag, truly, I could be way off here, but I have correctly guessed Vince is thinking a lot over the last year. Fair?
Is he going to buy an island?
No.
Aw.
Here's what I think that is. Because can you agree? I've correctly guessed a lot of his thinking over the last year. Because I've studied him a lot over my time and will continue to do so. Here's what I think that is. I do not think that's, oh my God, they want him out, he's going to. I think that's if he is charged with a crime that he doesn't think he can get out of, there's your out in terms of, I just sold this for $3 billion. I sold all my shares for $3 billion, and it got more money, which means more money for litigation, for all those sort of things to essentially because, I mean, the more money you have, unfortunately in this country,
Yeah, that's how it works.
the more money you have, the more you can make things go
And let's
away.
be fair. I'm sure it's that way in every country. Not just this one.
Well,
I'm sure money makes the world
we all
go
say,
round.
so when people go, well, he was. They don't want him either. Look, Ari Emanuel, unless he's an outright liar, and he could be, I have no idea. Said he insisted on Vince being around. There's no way they weren't aware of these possibilities.
Oh, they know everything.
Now, and I know people say, well, in the SEC file, and they even say that he could be pretty much a liability to the brand. Could be, but by all accounts, he is both their biggest asset and biggest liability.
I don't see how it can be damaging to the brand at this point.
Because
so much has come out about Vince McMahon and the wrestling business as a whole.
Because he's in the wrestling bubble, he's Teflon.
Because how many of us, like you, me, wrestling fans, said when all the allegations come out every time about Vince McMahon, we're always like, well, that was fucked up.
Yeah.
We're not surprised. Not surprised at all.
Because those of you that aren't in the wrestling bubble, if you're listening to this show, when you heard the allegation about Vince McMahon, you're like, I can't believe he would do such a thing. Just read his history.
Yeah, I was well, damn, that's fucked up. But yeah, I'm not surprised at all.
Whatever he feels the need to do, he will do at any length. Period. Yeah. I don't think there's anything he's unwilling to do if the right circumstance comes about. He may not be thrilled about it. I'm not saying he's like a willing criminal, if that makes sense. Like I don't think he does. He's not a criminal in the sense of like just because, but if he feels there's a need to do so, he's willing.
Yes.
And
I would agree.
Yeah. And so because there's been so many bullets to just bounce off Vince because and I don't mean to talk shit about our boy while he's not on this show, but Travis Napper told me he would never be in any position of power again for the better part of a year. I told him he was full of it because Vince is Vince. He's going to figure this out. And he totally did. And he did. And I know now the shifting narrative, well, he's not the ultimate boss anymore. That is true. That is correct in terms of, but we also don't know the nuts and bolts of his contract, which is by all accounts a for-life contract.
But we also have past history of Endeavor to be pretty sure that that's true. Yeah. Because why would he buy UFC and let Dana White run it?
When Dana White is also a bit of a liability in certain ways.
Yes. But yet you're not going to do the same thing with Vince McMahon. That's not a good business decision. Like I might not like the moral choices that Vince McMahon had made. But if I had $9 billion to buy his company, you're going to need to hang out for a couple years, bud. I'm going to need your help.
And remember, Vince also told, and we'll get to the rest of the episode of this. Kurt Angle said Vince told him when Kurt Angle came back in like 2017, I plan to live till I'm 120.
That's wild.
He said, I plan to live till I'm 120. He said he was dead serious, and I'm never let this company go. He said he'll have to pry it from a cold, dead hands.
Yeah, sounds right.
So if you think Vince McMahon ain't getting frozen, it ain't going to be a head. I think that at this point, Vince has earned the right, especially from us fans, assume he's going to be around until he's in the ground.
That's fair.
I don't care if he's in prison, he'll make some calls.
Oh, I'm sure. You get phone calls in prison.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get
I know you get at least one.
Yeah, you get a couple.
I don't know any of the other rules.
But, yeah, so until those things happen, by the way, the hypothetical of selling the shares is a hypothetical what if. Just because he has the ability to do so doesn't mean that he will. Wouldn't you also want the flexibility if you could?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Avoid the red tape everybody else is going through. That sounds like everything that he's done this past year.
It sounds like everything that he lives for is getting through the red tape.
And final thought on this before we get to the rest of it. If he was planning to leave after this deal, say what you want about Vince and his craziness, why would he threaten to bankrupt his company, his baby, if he was just going to leave as soon as it was sold?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Because, he was willing to, whatever I got to do to get my power back, I'm going to do it. You can either agree to that or you can watch me ruthlessly take this bitch. And he ruthlessly took that bitch.
He kind of did.
Because the board unanimously told him, we don't want you back. And he said, well, then I'm going to get a new board.
Well,
Then, all right.
You're off the board. You're off the board. You're off the board. Oh, you can stay.
You can stay.
You want me to stay?
Hey,
you can stay.
stay.
You're off the
Well,
board.
Well, who are you going to replace those board members with? I brought three people with me. And he did bring three people. Because we all know I was live sending you guys tweets in like January when he was in the office that day making changes to all the SEC filings. Remember, people got like fired and then 3 people got reinstated in like 10 minutes. He's like, well, who are you going to replace him with? I brought folks with me.
People.
Yeah.
My people.
Yeah. And, well, we're going to have a vote on putting them on the board. Who's got the voting majority? Me.
Oh, they're on the board now.
Yeah. So,
Such an evil genius.
He
I
really
swear
is.
to me.
He did it again. We'll see if he does it again.
Got the best
But he
lawyers
did it
money
again.
can buy.
Yeah. All right. PW Insider heard that Dustin Rhodes has been off AEW television in recent weeks because he's dealing with a tweet knee. When the hell has Dustin Rhodes been on television? It's been months.
He wrestled with Keith Lee once.
Yeah, but
over the summer.
It's
been a minute.
It's been like July.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
So, I hope Dustin Rhodes did what everybody else does, and I'm not knocking him for this. Hang on as long as you want. That's my philosophy. But he blew his perfect ending. Cody should have been in it.
Yeah, Cody probably should have been in.
There's
But
no
he
other
loves it.
Yeah.
He loves it, so
There's no
he
other
can't
way.
stop.
All right.
I think he should be used sparingly on television. Not that he's not good. Not that he doesn't know what he's doing. But he's definitely one of those legends that is better off training females like they always talk about.
Yeah.
He needs more time to do that. Now, I'm not saying take him off TV forever, and I don't ever want to see Dustin Rhodes again. But let's start putting him where he can help the roster more.
But I would assume this report, if this is true from PW Insider, that means that Tony has some plans for him, or else why would you
even bring it up?
Yeah. So maybe we'll see Dustin Rhodes back real soon. I'd like to see that.
Me too.
Just in a small run to, I don't know.
I wouldn't mind seeing him in Edge.
Yeah.
To be honest.
One time.
Because we haven't seen that.
Yeah, that would be cool. I would very much enjoy that. And also, I think his presence on TV would be best used on the Ring of Honor side now. Post-Edge.
Yeah.
Because it gives Rhodes in Ring of Honor and he's a bigger name, especially in AEW.
Yeah.
I just think that he would work well there with a bunch of the young talent.
I think so.
Do what Daniels is doing. Numerous talent are pushing for AEW to sign Shelton Benjamin per Fight for Select. There's so much enthusiasm to bring in the veteran that the push began months ago, where an accurate rumor was going around that Benjamin's deal was going to expire with WWE. I completely agree. Shelton Benjamin should be in AEW.
Yes, he should.
He's another guy that would fit beautifully on the Ring of Honor side.
Yes.
Imagine some of the matches, because he's still got it in spades.
Yeah, he does.
And
I mean, honestly, we've always kind of talked about his personality.
We can get a better idea of that in WWE or AEW where it's not so scripted.
Look at Claudio.
Yeah.
He's not lighting the world on. He's not John Moxley. He's not Bryan Danielson, but he's way better on the microphone here than he was in WWE.
Beating up Willa Euler
just for no reason.
He said that's not that hard to do.
It's not hard.
He kept punching it. It's not that hard to do. Boom. People do it all the time.
See, and that's I think maybe he pitched that and Vince didn't get it.
Yeah.
If Vince doesn't get it, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. And so, I think Shelton Benjamin should come to AEW or Ring of Honor to help out with those guys and get some stellar matches. And I mean, he's another one that's going to go down as one of the more vastly underrated in-ring talent in history.
He's the Lance Storm of the 2000s. If you want to say Lance Storm of the 90s, because that's when he was most over. Yeah, I think he had the 3 championships in early 2000s.
Yeah, but
I
get you.
So the 2000s to the 2010s, that's Lance. 2010s to the 2020s, that's Shelton. They're crisp, perfect in the ring, but for whatever reason, you can't get their personality. It's like Dean Malenko in the 90s.
Right.
Everything you hear about him in the back, he has the great personality. He's funny as hell, but when he gets out in front of that curtain, that shit shuts off.
It just doesn't.
It's weird
for some reason. Dean Malenko, another guy in AEW, of course, producing and dealing with Parkinson's and all that. But it's another great case. This week's Wrestling Observer newsletter noted that WWE is grooming Jade Cargill for a top position, and her debut should be happening reasonably soon. What do you define as reasonably soon, if that's accurate?
I'd say probably November.
Yeah, Survivor Series feels right.
Make sure she's comfortable. Make sure she's because there's always work to be done, and I think the more time she spends at the performance center, working on the little things.
Yep.
She's got everything else. She's got the look. She's got the size. She's got the mic skills. She's got the charisma. Everything that you want. She passes the airport test 18 times.
Maybe even 19.
Maybe even 19. But there's the details and the nuances and everything else. Yeah, she's going to have to adapt to the WWE style, which is what also time in the Performance Center is for. But it's also like working on those minutiae that you notice from the Chris's, the Danielsons, the Moxleys, the Omegas to a lesser extent because he wasn't in the system.
Sure.
So it's not as pronounced in their brain as it is the guys that came through the system.
This is gonna sound weird, but unless some guys that are kind of out of the coaching profession, and I mean the actual job, are willing to kind of get back in there and work with her, I feel like though she might have got better coaching in AEW because there are genuine coaches. What I mean by that is if Shawn Michaels is willing to get in there and work with her, that's great. Then my point is moot. Well, no one's going to teach you better than Shawn Michaels if he's willing to do so. But he's also not technically a coach. William Regal, guys like that, who I'm sure probably worked with her early on in AEW. But we talk about these people like Dustin Rhodes or Dean Malenko or Jerry Lynn or Jake Roberts or Mark Henry. They're all in AEW or Ring of Honor. Christopher Daniels. I don't know if you're going to get better coaching in WWE right now because a lot of those great coaches have gone to the other side.
I guess I should be more specific. The nuances and your storytelling and the facial expressions, because it's WWE.
Yeah,
they're gonna John Cena the fuck out of her.
I would think so.
They're gonna 5 moves of doom her all day long. It's smart.
It's all you need.
She's still technically green. It's kind of smart, and it is kind of all she needs. And as an older wrestling fan, realizing how wrestling works, it's probably not stupid to do that. Then down the line, you let her do what she wants, like John Cena did.
And it extends your shelf life.
Yes, it does.
All right, and then finally, I'll tell you what, MLW is making some moves here. New Japan, MLW, and CMLL started discussing their new strategic alliance in early July. By the way, I don't know if you saw that. They all announced a new strategic partnership this past week. So that's going to be kind of interesting.
That is kind of wild.
MLW is starting to do some interesting things. They even brought in, you may have missed this. You remember old Don King?
Yeah.
He's now an MLW persona.
What?
Yeah, at 91, he is he hasn't physically been to a show yet.
The boxing Don King?
The boxing Don King is now involved in MLW storylines.
That's kind of legit.
And obviously Don King's
wild.
a controversial name because he's done a lot of good and he's done a lot of
bad.
woe.
A lot of like Vince.
Yeah.
Like Vince.
And so
them promoters, man.
Yeah, MLW starting to do some interesting things, so keep your eye on them. Because of the politics between AAA and CMLL, the move does mean MLW won't be AAA talent moving forward.
So is CMLL an Mexican company?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense to me.
Conan has some beef with them, and it's weird. And
oh yeah, that makes sense.
Because he has his hand heavily involved in AAA, and so it's interesting. MLW is making some moves. People keep your eye on them.
Good.
If they ever get anything close to a proper TV deal, I think there's a place for them in a more niche market. Kind of they might serve as more if WWE and AEW is WWE and WCW. If we're kind of using that model, they might serve as an ECW. I think there's a lot of talent there, and I say that as a huge NWA fan, but the momentum just isn't there for them right now. Maybe it is. Maybe we'll get there again. Could, but right now it's not. So look out for MLW. I think they're on the come up. All right, let's make some Fastlane predictions to get out of here.
Fastlane.
All right. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions Finn Balor and Damian Priest versus Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. Who you got?
Balor and Priest.
I'm going to go Cody and Jey for a quick transition run.
That's gross.
I think they're leading to the breakup of Judgment Day. There's a lot of tension in that door.
There kind of is.
I'm going to go Cody and Jey.
Still gross.
Not saying you're
I
wrong.
don't think Rhodes or Jimmy Uso should be tag team champions right now. It's ridiculous.
I don't either, but I don't even think they ought to be in the feud right now. I don't quite get it, so I think you might as well pull the trigger and create not an odd couple, but a quick transition run. We'll see what happens. That's my guess. The LWO versus Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits in a 6-man tag team match. I'm hoping it's Lashley and the Street Profits. If not, something's desperately wrong.
Oh, it's most definitely going to be street business. And I'm going to call them that. And it's on record, and it's recorded, so that when Vince calls them street business, I'd be like, that was my idea.
WWE Women's Champion Io Sky versus Charlotte Flair and Asuka. Who you got?
I got Io.
Yeah, I'm going to take Io as well. Although with Charlotte Flair in a championship match, you can never be sure.
That's very true.
That's she's sitting at 14. That would get her at 15. We'll see what happens, but I'm going to take Io as well. John Cena and LA Knight versus Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa.
Well, since this is all to put LA Knight in this next echelon, Cena and LA Knight.
But you still worry because Cena hasn't won in a long time in terms of just anything. So
that's true.
But I'm going to say Cena and LA Knight.
Yeah, I think this is for LA Knight.
And then finally, world champion Seth freaking Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura in a last man standing match. Do they pull the trigger?
They fucking better.
Do they pull the trigger?
I might cry.
What is your official prediction?
I'm predicting Shinsuke.
I'm also going to predict Shinsuke. If they don't do it and also give Seth a little time to heal.
That's the main reason why I lean into it. This man needs to heal. Cool. I love when wrestlers work hurt for a month.
Yeah, I think it's...
and then it's whoa, bud.
What are we doing?
Take a break. Yeah. Do you want to be able to hold your kid in 5 years? And I'll whenever we have this conversation, I'll use Mick Foley as an example.
Yep.
Because if he had little kids right now, he couldn't hold them.
Yep. It would be.
He couldn't play ball with his kids or whatever, Legos or whatever. He wouldn't be able to.
Yep, he's beat down.
I appreciate how much he broke his body for our entertainment.
Yep. Absolutely. 100%.
I think the Hell in a Cell was enough, but apparently he didn't.
That's all right, but we'll see what happens. But that's our official Fastlane predictions. We'll be back here next Tuesday in some form or another to break down Fastlane, talk about it. Hopefully, it's a wonderful show.
It'll be fun.
And then we're getting geared up for the 14th in Mansfield, October Showdown.
We are up against a week next week.
Yeah.
Fuck. All the time.
Yep. All the time. Yep. Don't stop.
No, it doesn't.
Doesn't stop.
No, it doesn't.
So, with that, McCarthy, any final words? Anything else?
Follow, subscribe on all your favorite podcasting apps to the Bruiser Nation Podcast Network, a division of Snapmare Productions. It helps us more if you go to Spotify, but I don't care where you listen as long as you listen. And don't forget, follow, and subscribe. Loss of Down. If you're into football, you don't want to miss them.
Absolutely. The Lost and Down podcast.
Ooh, and they're not a sponsor yet, but my goal to have our first sponsor is going to be Bob's Backyard Barbecue on Main Street in Lancaster. It's utterly fantastic. They are super cool people. We had just a regular random conversation a couple Saturdays ago, not about business, not about nothing, just bullshitted. We knew each other. So they're going to be my first attempt at being sponsored.
Yeah, just a little.
They're fantastic. They're good.
I will gladly.
I don't care if it's for a sandwich. I mean, a couple sandwiches. Let's be serious. But
because I'm a big old boy.
If we got to do gift cards and not, it is what it is. Okay.
But we will be back next week to break down Fastlane. We'll also break down Edge's first week in AEW. That's going to be interesting to see.
Don't be surprised if he's on Rampage too.
So watch all 3 AEW shows. Watch Raw and SmackDown. Watch as much wrestling as you can because I don't know if we're in a boom period ratings and attendance-wise right now for anybody not named WWE, but we certainly are in a boom period in terms of watchable products.
And not only watchable products, but companies as a whole. There's so many successful companies right now around the country and around the world. It's weird. It's something that I never thought we'd get to.
Absolutely. So please keep watching professional wrestling. Until then, we will see you in the ring next week. Ding, ding.
Bye, Buckle Brigade.
Bye, Buckle Brigade. We love you. Thank you so much.